What the hell happened?
It says we're live.
Well, you know what? God damn it. I'm doing this anyways.
You would have to kill someone, Sean. You would have to torture them. The hematological reports, you're getting me all excited now in this conversation. It gives me chills to this day because it does take your breath away.
Look, I was looking for something sciencey. That's the best I've got. He said something about hematological reports, and that's literally the best I've got. Because I don't ordinarily do this. But hi everyone, welcome to my show.
Check that man's basement.
Yes. Anybody who is in the area should probably keep an eye on that. But hey, it's Friday afternoon. It's 2:00 out here on the Pacific Coast. I'm here with my co-host Vish and our very special guest today, Dr. Maddie. It's very good.
Yay.
And it's also May Day.
It is May Day.
Yes, it is May Day.
For the working class.
Yeah. Oh man, it's also the first. I just paid my mortgage.
Oh, see, I pay mine on the
first
9th.
of the month. So cash your checks and come out.
But it's always the next day after you pay your mortgage is always, that's the day that you're like, oh my God, where did all my money go? But yeah, so welcome everyone to the show. This is going to be totally different today, and I'm really excited about this, and I've already talked a lot about what's happening today in other places, just because I'm so excited about it. But I have to tell the story because so Maddie and I are cast members together on Star Trek Endurance, which is coming back next week. It's next weekend, I think, isn't it? It's next Friday. I think we're back in the starship
saddle again.
In the saddle, yes. So so we're connected through our mutual friend Dapper Dinosaur, and some other mutual friends, and she texted me one day and sent me a video with Wes Huff, and was like, I just, this is so stupid. I just really want to make fun of Wes Huff trying to do science in popular media. And I was like, that sounds cool. We should do that. But it was a few weeks, and then when we finally got reconnected, I asked her, I said, hey, are you still interested in doing this? Let's do it. Let's pick a date. And this is exactly how she responded to me. She said, yes, I'm dying to make fun of Wes with you. I could do it on May 1st. So here we are. Maddie's here to help me make fun of Wes Huff in a totally new way, because
he stepped into my wheelhouse, team. He shouldn't have done that. He should have stayed. Like, this isn't even not in his swim lane. This is not in his pool, right? Like, this is
just not.
And it's such rapid fire, like, young Earth creationist, practically flat Earth tier talking points that he just rattles off one after the other that I'm like, honey, no. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked. I love getting to hang out with Kip and Vishanti. I don't get to do it nearly as often as I would like because our fields are so wildly different. So if anybody here doesn't know who I am, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Maddie. You can find me on the internet over at Science Side Up. I haven't done a lot there since I had a child. But you know, I have dreams. And you can find me, I guest over on Dapper's channel every third Tuesday for Matt with Maddie. And then anyways, that's where you can find me. I have a master's and a PhD in meteorology from the University of Oklahoma. And I'm currently a postdoctoral researcher there. I did my undergrad at MIT, where I double majored in math and Earth, atmospheric, and planetary sciences. And then I spent 4 years in between undergrad and grad school in the Navy, teaching nuclear physics to sailors who are going to go operate nuclear reactors on submarines and carriers. And so the point of all of this is that I have a weirdly broad background in the physical sciences. So some of what we're going to be talking today is like astronomy and other stuff like that. I'm not an astronomer, but I've got a textbook that covers some of that stuff that I busted out, right? So I've kind of got a broad background. So talking about, oh man, nothing he says needs a deep dive. Nothing he says needs like a real expert. You just need to understand physical sciences generally, right? So yeah, so that's me.
And that's awesome. And I mean, the way Wes does this is he finds ways of massaging the Bible into almost everything. So there's still going to be occasional opportunities for us both to do the tag thing double dunk suplex thing. I don't know. I'm sure there's a wrestling term for this. Help me out, Vish.
Pile driver.
Thank you. That's a good one. Are you
gonna give Wes the tombstone? Put him in the jackknife.
Oh my god! Awesome.
Or my favorite, the sharpshooter.
Ooh,
of that. I feel like I've heard of that. What's that one?
You have. It's by famous and legendary Canadian Bret the Hitman
Hart,
who is my favorite.
That's right.
My favorite wrestler.
The best there is, the best there ever was, and the best that there ever will be.
The best there ever will be. That's right.
You know, because you brought it up, Bret Hart is a famous Calgarian, which is the city that I grew up in. He is the son of Stu Hart, who was a prominent wrestling promoter in the area. He was the promoter of Stampede Wrestling. And I and my buddies would go out on Friday nights in junior high school to watch Stampede Wrestling. Well, we were half watching the wrestling, and then we were half watching, the drunk people in attendance at the. It was fun, and then watching, the police. I shouldn't tell that. Let's not. Okay, so we would go and watch Stampede Wrestling. Stu Hart had a gigantic house on the top of the hill that's on the west side of the city that you can see from pretty much everywhere looking west. Calgary's flat. You look and you just see all the way across the city, right? It's like that. So but there were he is a legendary family of professional wrestlers, including Owen Hart and
the late
Davey Boy Smith. The late Davey Boy Smith married into the family, and there was a bunch of B tier wrestlers who wrestled locally, part of the Hart family, and would substitute teach schools. So most of us kids growing up in Calgary had a a wrestling heart connection, whether it was Keith or Drew or Rob, coming and teaching. Yes, we're gonna talk about this, and so yes, I personally did not spend any time in Stu's dungeon. This is legendary, this is famous, and this is true. In the basement of the Heart House, sitting at the top of the hill on the west side of the city, was just a wrestling ring in the basement. And if you were a burgeoning professional, a wannabe professional wrestler entering the field, cutting your teeth, this is something you had to do. You had to go and you had to spend some time in the dungeon, which is what it was called. And Stu Hart, the patriarch who did this into his late 70s before he died, would just kick the shit out of you and put you into the most painful submission holds ever imagined by man. So this is all true. This is stuff that happened. And I did have a friend in high school growing up who did aspire to be a professional wrestler, and he did end up in the dungeon with Stu Hart, and he threw up and he passed out. So it was oh yes, also the legend is true. This was when I was younger. This was before when they were the city hadn't quite gotten like it's like this, the house is more inside the city than it used to be. And when it was more on the outskirts of town, they actually had a pet black bear that they would keep chained up on the front lawn. So yeah.
That's the kind of rural redneck hick shit
That is
that I'm here for. Yeah. That's
Brett
I
was
grew up
always
in
second to Taker for me, but still amazing. Yeah. Forever, Undertaker has the best intro of anyone ever. Period. All the lights go out and you just hear the dong. That's it. No one's topping it.
I do remember that. That's awesome.
Let's see. Where's the other comment that I wanted to show? Oh yeah. Again, happy International Workers' Day. It is May Day for any of you.
Hello.
Tad also replies, there's a Ken Shamrock Owen Hart pay-per-view match that happened in the dungeon, and it's amazing.
No way.
It's hard for me to watch things with Owen Hart knowing like what happened to him. That always like scarred my psyche.
Yeah.
Because I was like I was a perfect age to enjoy wrestling at like what I think is its peak. So like mid to late 90s. So yeah.
That's rough.
Well, when it was WWF and WCW, and those were the main two competitors. So
that's right.
A couple super chats have already come in. Tree Clam Tad for 5. Happy Friday, everyone, especially Maddie and Vish. Kip can have an adequate Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adequate Fridays are fine.
Chris for 5, gummied up and ready. Can I get a fit check? The shirts look great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I've
so
got
you go ahead, Maddie. Sorry.
Okay, I've got all the barbarians I would like to rage from Critical Role for the first 3 campaigns. That felt appropriate. Sometimes I need to rage.
Yeah. I've got a You Shall Not Oppress the Stranger.
You Shall Not Oppress the Stranger.
I love that.
By Speed Paced Robot. It was part of an immigrant rights fundraiser from several years ago.
Hell yeah.
That's coming up actually. In the stream today. We will talk about that. I'm wearing I fucking love the Bible. As usual. It went through the wash the day before yesterday. So here I am. Okay. So we've got a couple of videos to get to. We might as well cue this up now. This first one. So this is, I think the craziest thing about this is not so much that Wes Huff's talking points are like just the most vapid young earth creationist bullshit. It's that and the fact that he's out there on the largest platforms on the planet with this unmitigated bullshit. Put out an uncensored version of the show. You're here like every week. Do you not pay any attention at all? You can get the uncensored
You
version.
can get one that's uncensored.
They are available at the store. I just happen to not have one for some reason. But yes.
For terms of service.
Why is Wes doing science when he can hardly do apologetics? I kind of think that is apologetics is hardly doing anything, really.
Yeah.
Right. So we shall, but let's just get into this first video. Whenever you need to stop and scream or yell or say anything.
It's gonna be a lot.
Maddie,
I'll just scream.
Just let me
It'll
know.
be great.
Okay, cool. So I'm trying to I know why my screen shut down. There we go. Okay.
Bible. It also talks about things like angels and demons and stuff like that, which people point to as well. Obviously, that can't be true. I mean, what do you say to people when they raise things like angels and demons?
Well, I mean, it's starting with the assumption that the supernatural doesn't exist. And I simply, I don't think that's...
Okay, so this comes up from a lot of apologists, a lot of young earth creationists, a lot of pseudoscientists, pseudo-historians, bullshit artists, basically. They're always upset that, quote, the mainstream academics assume XYZ. But here's the thing. When it comes to the hard sciences, and in particular, it's not an assumption, okay, that the supernatural doesn't exist. That's not an assumption. They just go in going, yeah, there's no supernatural, and they just go in, okay? That's not an assumption. It is a rational conclusion, which is drawn from the fact that there is zero evidence empirically of the supernatural. Okay, so therefore, no reason exists to include the supernatural as a candidate explanation for observed phenomenon or events in history. And my personal take on this as well is if some entity or force was to interact with reality, it would cease to be supernatural and become natural because it's affecting the natural world. So I hate this.
For the hard sciences, right, the existence of the supernatural that's not an assumption. That's not something we deal with. It's simply that like science is the process by which we understand natural phenomena, right? So we are science is definitionally studying natural phenomena, not supernatural phenomena. So if, let's say, we found something in the universe that was like impossible, right? You know, like something happened and
like a squared circle.
Yeah, like a squared circle, right? Or like, you know, we're out here and we find this weird pocket of the universe where, like, I don't know, the gravitational constant is attractive instead of repulsive, right? Like wild, or it does that for like a second. Right? We have no natural explanation for that, right? All that science could and would ever say is that was weird and we can't reproduce it, right? Like that's it, because we're not, science is uninterested in the supernatural. That's not what we study, right? And so it says nothing about the existence or non-existence of the supernatural. Right? It just will never be a conclusion we come to because that's not what we study. It's like asking a writer why they don't make paintings, right? Like it's like paint, cool. That's a different thing, you know? Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I get really pissed off because they just want to whine. Well, they don't like the supernatural. They just assume the supernatural. Buddy, if you want that included in the scientific process, you better display and provide some actual empirical evidence of the supernatural, to which nobody has done.
Yeah. and even if we're gonna like step outside of science and into say like history, it boggles my mind when I hear an apologist get mad that historians will say something like, if the supernatural is real, it's still the least likely explanation, right? And I'm like, that still isn't making a claim about.
No.
That's not even saying it's impossible. That's just saying that like we're going to exhaust all natural explanations and not comment on the supernatural.
Right.
And
it's like, I feel sick today. Is it a virus, a cold, or maybe demons?
Right.
What's the more likely answer?
Yeah.
Like,
this was something that was impressed on me when I was a young person, and I went to after high school. I spent a year in New Zealand at a discipleship school.
Oh no, those are cults.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I'll tell you about the time I went to a church summer camp that was secretly a cult recruitment site.
All right, let's we'll talk about that. My entire reason for going was to extend my snowboarding season a full like 17 months, right? I'm like,
brilliant.
And so that's why I went.
Yeah.
But I remember being in a church in New Zealand that was a very charismatic church, which was not my background to begin with. So I was already kind of uncomfortable, and being in like a youth meeting, and we were doing prayer requests and things, and somebody said like, I'm really struggling with a headache tonight, and my God,
demons.
The vigorous prayer intervention that resulted from that for the next 10 minutes. And they would pause every now and then and go, how's it going? You feeling any better? Is that headache going away? And I'm convinced that this poor girl, after 10 minutes of this, just went, yeah, it's gone. So that they would
you want to pray
stop.
For me, if I'm feeling unwell, great, cool. I don't mind. Do it. I'm not going to stop you. In fact, I accept it as a wish of get well soon. Great. Not going to bother me. But if you told me, hey, I'm going to pray for you, but don't go to the doctor. No.
Yeah.
That's where we draw the line. Like, if you want to pray for people while also seeking professional medical care, awesome.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it instead of, that's a problem. That's why, people used to die of preventable disease. Be like, oh, let's bleed you out, or let's pray the demons away, or let's exorcise you. Like, stop.
There is a spectacular book, because while I am an atmospheric scientist and a bit of a mathematician, I was once a teenage theology nerd. And so I've read a lot. There's a great book by a woman named Kate Bowler. She's a professor in the divinity school at Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, UNC.
Where Barnum was? Yes. And her dissertation was published. Her dissertation was a history of the prosperity gospel in the United States. And the book version of that is called Blessed. It's a fascinating read because it looks at how the prosperity gospel kind of came out of a time in medicine, and it was initially not about finances, it was initially about health, right? And it came out of a time when there were like religious groups running these like rest centers where you would get out of the city and go and rest and eat like simple food and pray. And oftentimes they had better health outcomes than hospitals, right? Because of the state of medicine at that
starting
time.
To think that, hey, we know that stress can actually cause physical illness.
Mm-hmm.
I suspect that had a lot to do with people healing up or feeling better. It's like, oh, you're just chilling out, vibing, eating good food, and not stressing out. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. So like, and it was also getting out of the cities, right? So they weren't breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So this was this was during like
inhaling like
and all of that. It's a fascinating read. All of her stuff is absolutely fascinating. Because I haven't gotten her new book yet, but I really want to. Her like more popular book is called Everything Happens for a Reason and Other Lies I've Loved, which is
Oh
really
yeah, I've
beautiful.
heard of that book.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then her latest one is called Joyful Anyway. And I really want to read it because it's about like finding joy in kind of times of hopelessness, right? Yeah. So anyway,
It
she's
feels
brilliant.
timely.
A few comments. Sorry, I've got cheese stuck in my throat. Prixie writes, provide a way to study the supernatural with science. That'd be great.
Yeah.
In that case, it would really stop being supernatural, but okay, yeah. John Gooderham, apologists just want to use the word presuppose, like everyone does it because they do it so often.
Yeah.
And Hank Fashi, who I haven't seen in a while. Hi, Hank Fashi. Demon theory of disease.
All right.
I mean,
shall we?
Yeah, let's get like 5 more seconds in because I think I'm about to scream.
Do that. Okay.
Yeah.
True. I mean, there are all sorts of things that, from say a secular materialistic perspective, are far more.
We even got 5 seconds in time. The secular materialist, atheist, unbelieving, skeptical, hard-headed, demon-possessed point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
Oh, if you don't,
What
like
does that
point? Not that I pre-watched this before I sent this to Kip, right?
Oh God.
His framing here. So he's asked, like, do you think angels and demons are real? Right? That's what
he was asked about it in the Bible specifically.
Yes. And what he's gonna say is, well, but he's gonna not answer the question, pivot hard, and say, but non-religious people, and scientists, and again, drawing this dichotomy between like the good, true religious folks and those evil scientists, I guess.
Materialist, atheist, secular, communist, demonic.
Yeah. Well, there's things that they believe that's harder to explain than an angel. First of all, angels are easy to believe. All you got to do are easy to explain. If you believe in magic, all you got to do is say Gandalf made one, right? And
it was the Maya.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you got to do. Like that's not hard to explain supernaturally, right? Anywho, okay. Click play because I know what he's about to say, and I'm gonna scream. And I'm like,
supernatural beings. I mean, my friend Glenn Scrivener out in the UK, who runs an organization called Speak Life, he talks about this a lot. Where there are things that atheists and secular materialists have to account for. Things like everything coming from nothing.
Okay, pause.
Okay, pause. First of all, I know what Maddie's gonna say, so I'll leave the
so let her say it
to her. And to the whole thing about like, oh, well, they have to account for these angels and demons and supernatural. No, they don't. They don't have to account for anything that has zero evidence. Thanks, bye, Maddie.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what he just said is that scientists have to explain how everything came from nothing. That's not a science claim. That is very specifically a philosophical claim and like a Western philosophy claim of creation ex nihilo, that there was nothing and then there was creation, and in no way, shape, or form does any model of the like universe or cosmos say that, right? Really fast. Universe and cosmos, slightly different things. The universe is everything we can see and observe and live in, right? And then the cosmos is everything, right? Whether or not we can see it or experience it. So when you study like the origin of the universe, it's not talking about creation ex nihilo, right? And there are like, once you start talking about the origins of the cosmos, that gets really philosophical because it's into things that we're not making observations and drawing conclusions from them. We're sort of like looking at the math and speculating about what could have happened. And so listen, there's no reason to think, right, that the universe, our universe as we experience it, came from nothing. There's no reason to believe. So we as people, especially as Western people, really, really want everything to have a beginning and an end. We really want everything to exist in the same sort of linear time that we exist and experience. And I hate to break it to everyone, but the way that we experience it's not how it is, right? And the way that we experience time is a consequence of the fact that we are three-dimensional beings who live in a universe that is between 11 and 26 dimensions. Last time I looked at string theory and M theory, right?
Wild.
Wow. And so we are limited in our experience of time to linear, right? And unidirectional, right? Like we can't travel to the past. We can observe the past, which is really cool. And I hope I get to chat about that a little bit during this.
Space.
Yeah. So in a very real sense, every moment in time that our universe has ever experienced is happening at the same time, right? Because, right? So I just want you to imagine that I have a really good telescope, right? A telescope that's so perfect we can zoom and enhance as much as we want. And we also have the ability to teleport. So just imagine that we have that, right? And if we were to pop, say, 20 light years away, we could, in fact, watch in real time my high school soccer team win the state championship, right? I could go observe myself do that, right? Because distance and time are related, right? And so, like, time's weird, you guys, and time's relationship with space is weird. And it's very much a consequence of, like, how we inhabit it. And that gets to some of the really fun philosophical nature of physics and astrophysics and cosmology that I'm not qualified to talk about, but it's real fun to think about, right?
Aaron and Dare, jump on the stream and talk to us about astrophysics.
Yeah. But so, like, when we're talking about origins of the universe, right, we're talking about things we're observing, right? And so basically the Big Bang model explains everything back to where we stopped being able to observe things.
And I just watched a video. I don't remember if it was PBS Spacetime, my beloved, or if it was New Scientist that was discussing that we're starting to get data that might indicate that there's more stuff in the universe than beyond what we can see, observe with our observational like tools. And that's the thing. It's like right now we're limited by what we can see, either with telescopes or, kind of indirectly, but there might be things outside what we can observe, which is telling us that, hey, this stuff might be way older and way bigger. And oh my gosh, my head's going to explode. I'm going to have an existential crisis.
So
wild.
Also, really quick, because I know this comes up a lot. In terms of higher dimensions, not planes of existence like the woo peddlers use, but in terms of
dimensions.
Dimensions are in some fields dimensions of like measurement. So time is a dimension. Time is a like usually space-time, I think, is the fourth dimension that we kind of recognize.
Time is like the fourth, and then we have 3 spatial dimensions that we inhabit. And here's the thing. So mathematically, let me back up a second, because it's very possible and for beings to exist, for beings to exist in a universe of more dimensions than what they are, right? A great analogy would be like Flatland, right?
Yeah, I love that example.
Yes. So you could imagine a little stick person and a whole stick person society that lives on a piece of paper, that I can pick up that piece of paper and move it around and do stuff to it, right? And so those fictional, like 2-dimensional beings they live in a 3-dimensional world, but they only experience like 2 of them.
And they really can only perceive one.
And they can really only perceive one.
The other dimension. Like, we can see 2. We have to infer the third, and we can move around in 3. But oh no, we lost Kip for a second.
No,
That was weird.
I'm just.
And then
Took
we
itself off
don't,
the screen.
yeah, you know, we don't fully experience time, right? Because we only experience it unidirectionally. And then there's other spatial things going on, right? If you get down into the quantum level, like quantum entanglement, where you have two particles whose spin is tied. So spin is a fundamental property of like subatomic particles. So it's like you're either think about it as spinning one direction or the other, and you'll have two particles that are opposites of each other, right? Or let me just back up. Sorry, I'm going to mess this up because my quantum is not great. But quantum entanglement means that
First time that's ever been said on this channel before, by the way. My quantum.
While you get your science brain to communicate the complex ideas, I will at least acknowledge, don't bring that flurf shit in here. Seriously.
Wait,
we experience gravity as a force. Scientists know that it's not a force in the sense that you think. But whatever. But don't bring that flurf shit in here. Anyway, done. Maddie.
Okay. Sorry, it's gonna break my brain a little bit. If we're gonna like define okay, I'm gonna let that go. We don't need to talk. This is not flurf stuff. This is me talking quantum stuff. Okay. So, but you'll have two particles.
Stay away from the flurf stuff.
Yeah, who are entangled. And so what that means is that if this one's spin changes, it was going clockwise, now it's going counterclockwise. This one's spin changes instantaneously, right? So their spin, which should be impossible, right? Because information can only travel at the speed of light and no faster. But these things can be separated by distance, and their spins change instantaneously. This is evidence of living in a higher dimension, right? It's kind of like a person in Flatland. If a sphere was sort of being passed through their flat world, so they're seeing, let's imagine they can observe all two dimensions. They're seeing different sizes of circles, right? And like if they could do it, right? If they had it in their little brains, they could maybe put together this concept of a three-dimensional shape. But that's so far out of their experience, right? That how do you even conceptualize that? So try to conceptualize a fourth spatial dimension right now, right? Like it's hard. I usually do it by imagining like a three-dimensional object and then imagining that every point on that object has another property, such as a sound or a color. But that's a math hack, right? Because math doesn't care how many dimensions you have. You just do the same. You just keep integrating until you're done. So thinking about like the physical reality of that is so weird. So all of this rambling to say creation ex nihilo is a philosophical claim. That's
not a cosmological one.
Not a cosmological one. There is no scientist who is making the scientific claim that something came from nothing. So if you're wondering, where did the universe come from? Then where did all of this matter come from? There is an element of we don't know. However, the real answer, the kind of best answer we have right now is that it appears as though energy is eternal. We know of no mechanism that can either create or destroy energy. Energy being created or destroyed has never been observed. No matter how hard we try in a lab, we can't make it happen, right?
Doesn't mean that we've not been able to detect it yet.
Yeah. So so it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that in some weird cosmological other existence it couldn't happen. But in terms of our universe and the rules governing our universe, we know of no mechanism. We know of no way for energy to be destroyed. And for those of you who do not know, matter and mass is just another form of energy. So you can convert.
Thanks, Einstein.
Yeah. So you can convert like photons into physical particles with mass. This happens every day. We observe it all the time. It's called pair production. That's how you can make electrons and protons that way. And there are like under the extreme environment of the early universe, you made some protons, right? Some protons were made in that extreme environment. Once you have protons, hey guys, protons is hydrogen without an electron. Once you have protons, once you have protons, you can make a star. Once you have stars, you have fusion. Once you have fusion, you're squeezing protons together, making larger elements. And that's all you need to make through iron. That's all you need to make stuff. Then once you get supernova, you get elements heavier than iron, right? But we have, that's it. That's all you need, right? You need to make a couple protons, not a couple. You need to make a lot of protons.
Make a lot of them.
And then you get everything else. And it all comes from starting with energy, right? And now you get everything you see here. After 14 billion years.
Great historian and scientist Bill Wirtz once described it. Some stars grow old and die and explode. Some do it with passion.
Yeah. Some do it with some jazz hands.
The absurdity in all this is, I think, not just the promotion of this idea of creation ex nihilo, but the fact that this is not even this is a pretty localized idea. This is not something that was even conceptualized by most cultures, as far as I'm aware, including those that had the most direct influence on the Bible in the first place. So our earliest texts about creation do not presume creation ex nihilo either. So, all that to say, Wes is just wrong about everything.
The Bible isn't even
the only people that have been going around saying that everything came from nothing are the creationists. They believe everything came from nothing.
So everything coming from nothing is a bad, specifically Yek talking point, right?
Yes.
And by the way, Wes Huff he's not a young Earth creationist. I think he's an older Earth creationist. Or like intelligent design proponent. Intelligent design folks are usually old Earth, but like, why are we making Yek claims, my guy? You don't need them.
Yeah, right.
Don't do it.
Okay. I gotta press play.
Okay.
Emerging from non-life minds that.
My God! Our pause again.
Okay.
We have to explain how life emerges from non-life. Abiogenesis. Abiogenesis. It's a whole field. You would need a biology, not my thing, but that's a whole field. And the thing is,
beep up boop beep.
I'm
Professor Dave.
Yeah, Professor Dave.
Bring the chalk.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have observed. Don't quote me on this because I don't know. But like, all you need is a like self-replicating protein, and then
a lot of this has been demonstrated in the lab.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
James Tour may not like it, but we have actually observed in the laboratory self-replicating. I don't want to call them the wrong word, but I believe it's molecules. Don't quote me. I'm not a chemist. But these things have already been worked on, and just because we haven't connected all of the dots yet doesn't mean we just have no idea. Oh, woe is me, we'll never know. Like, that's not how that works.
And again, this is a young Earth creationist claim, right? Their claim is often, well, why haven't we seen the whole process, right? Because they have this idea that like modern unicellular life, they forget that that's also undergone about 3 billion years of evolution. Right. So a modern amoeba, think of the simplest single cellular organism you can think of, is still 3 billion years more adapted to its environment than any spontaneously replicating strands of RNA, right? Or something like that. I think it would be a protein first. Right. And so they get really mad. They get really mad when there's a process that takes 3 billion years to happen, and we can't reproduce the whole process in the lab in like a year, right? That's because you hear these same claims about like stars, right? We've never seen how a star is made. Like, well, that's actually not true. Right? Because we can look at different points in the solar system. We can point our telescopes out to different places and see and observe every point in a star's life
I hope it's
cycle,
not in the solar system. That would probably be a problem for us. But I think,
I mean,
outside
out
the
into the
solar system
galaxy,
would
right? Out
be
into
would be
the
much
sky.
better.
Yeah. So yeah, we can point our
Anxiety
telescope
problem.
out into the sky and see and observe every single point in like a main sequence star's lifetime, right? But apparently that's not good enough because we've never seen, we can't observe a single star go through its full life cycle, right? Yeah, when a daddy star and a mommy star really love each other, they have jazz hands, and that's how we get uranium.
Nice.
They woohoo, and you get a star.
Right. And so with biology, just because we can't, again, reproduce 3 billion years worth of evolution in a lab, right? That would be hard. We don't have 3 billion years. It doesn't mean we can't reproduce certain stages of that, right? And so abiogenesis is an active field. How do you go from just like simple organic molecules to something that self-replicates, to RNA? Like, we understand what the process was to a large degree, I think, right? Don't quote me, not a biologist, but there's some strong theories as to what the process was.
Yeah, Domingo. Wes Huff just came out and said the whole something from nothing, so we already drank or did whatever you do when a bingo call comes
water,
up.
Fortunately.
Yeah, I need water today.
Nonsense. Also,
Okay.
I will say this, just because I am petty, I can't wait for the day, and we're getting closer, when chemists and biologists finally go, hey, we have it narrowed down. We think this is probably, if not but the best current explanation for how abiogenesis happened. And I can't wait for all the creationists and all the fundies to just start crying and shitting their pants about it.
That'll be so great. Yeah.
It will be fun. We'll all
It'll be fun because it's like, how's your God of the Gaps going to work with that? Like, I'm sure they'll find a way, but it's going to be funny.
Oops. There we go. Okay.
Of a leap in logic to believe in angels and demons, or that everything came from nothing, Pierce. That order came from chaos.
No.
Life
not,
from
whoa! No! This is my... So, one, Vish, please talk about the claim of which is dumber to believe in, that rhetoric, and then I'll talk about order and chaos.
Honestly, people believing in magical beings rather than or in place of empirical explanations is silly. Not alongside, but in place of. That is silly as hell. And I know it. I have the vibes that you're going to talk about entropy, and
I sure am.
And I'm like, just do it. Just
yeah.
Go.
Okay.
Do it.
Also, listen, belief in the supernatural. Listen, you want a quick marriage tip from Maddie? Your house has a gremlin in it. Your house has a little gremlin or a little gnome, right?
Is that true?
Everyone's house does.
True.
Right?
True.
Especially if you're married. And you're like, who left this plate out? It must have been the gnome. Stupid gnome. Anyway.
Or the borrowers.
Get mad at your house gnome. It's going to make your life better.
Yeah.
Okay. The idea that order came from chaos, this drives me insane. I hate this talking point. It was actually that talking point that made me get into debunking pseudoscience on the internet because it makes me so angry. All right, friends, we're going to talk about the laws of thermodynamics.
Oh yeah, entropy, baby.
Okay. The second law of thermodynamics is often sort of explained as a system always moves from order to chaos, right? And then young earth creationist folks, apologists, take that and run with it and are like, then how in the world can you possibly get a universe? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's back that up. So what is entropy, you ask? I would love to tell you. Entropy it's an energy, right? It's a form of energy. So if you have an engine, right? Let's imagine you have a car engine, right? And your car engine
I have
works,
one of those.
yeah, by turning the chemical energy in gasoline, right, into thermal energy as an explosion, into kinetic energy that forces a piston, right? So we have this exchange of energies going on, right? Gas to thermal to kinetic, and thus the car moves forward. Your car's engine is not 100% efficient in each of those stages. So if we were to measure how much chemical energy was available, right, to go from the gasoline to the explosion, right, some of that energy is lost. It's not used in the little explosion, in that thermal energy, right? And then when that little explosion happens,
Use
Truth
your
Uncanny, I don't know. Can you imagine a
imagination.
car? Can you? I don't know, man. Think of. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't cater to Todd.
Okay.
It's just, you know, he'll be fine. Okay.
And then again, when that little explosion happens and fires the piston, right? Not all of the energy of that explosion goes to driving the piston. That one's a little easier to picture, right? Because an explosion isn't directional. It's happening like in all directions. And the piston is just there and gets caught in its wake. Now you can engineer it to be more efficient and all of this, but you'll never get to 100% efficiency. So at the end of the day, we calculated how much energy, how much chemical energy was potentially available out of the gasoline, and then we measured how much energy we got out from the pushing of the piston, right? And there's a difference. So that energy that was not used to move the piston is entropy. That's it. Entropy is energy that is unavailable to do work. It's stuff that's lost to like ambient heat. I say lost, I don't mean destroyed, right? I mean lost in an engineering sense. It's stuff that's like you know, lost to friction, right? You're having to overcome friction, and so some of the energy goes there. So entropy exists in enclosed systems. So in systems where you're not constantly adding energy in closed systems, the entropy always increases. That's another way of saying you can't make a perpetual motion machine, right? Like some of the energy becomes unusable to do work. That's all energy. That's all entropy is. That's all the second law of thermodynamics says. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't have much to do with how a solar system forms, right? And again, it's an energy thing. So you cannot extrapolate this idea that order always goes to chaos. That is not a universal truth, right? For example, if we have, so like how does a planet form? Great question. I would love to tell you. You start with dust particles, right? Dust particles that have randomly accumulated because of the gravitational pull of a like protostar. They exist in like a disk orbiting that protostar, right? They're in a gaseous state, and then they start to cool. It's a whole thing. And then they, through like Brownian motion and van der Waals forces, begin to stick together. As they get bigger, they start to accrete together. They run into each other and sometimes accrete through gravity, right? And then gravity pulls them all together, right? So we went from a random distribution of molecules to a planet, right? So we went from a largely disordered system, right, to a much more ordered system because of natural forces, right? Gravity.
The way I explain planets is, hey, stuff clumps together.
Yeah, that's it. Stuff
and
clumps
then it gets
together.
real big, and it gets even bigger, and more stuff clumps on it. That's a planet.
Have you ever had like a dust bunny in the corner of your house?
Yeah.
Right. If you have pets, if you have pets, you understand stuff clumps together very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff, and specifically forces act on things. Apologists like to seem to imagine that everything in the universe is random, right? Like everything behaves just like stochastically crazy moving around. But like, guys, there's forces acting on things. Gravity pulls things together, right?
Yeah.
Van der Waals forces also are sticky for itty bitty particles. They hold them together.
Wow.
Right?
Can I
anyway.
address something really quick? Assuming for the moment, because I don't feel like scrolling back, if you're talking about Maddie, she does not actually hate religion, and it's very frustrating to continually hear people who are credentialed academic experts in this field discuss their expertise, and someone go, they just hate religion.
Guys, I'm Episcopalian.
Your head out of your ass.
I'm a confirmed Episcopalian. I go to church every Sunday and sing in the choir.
That's a religion. Gasp. But you atheists hate Christianity and you hate religion because you're materialist, communist, demonic, skeptical.
I'm a methodological naturalist, right? Especially when I'm like doing my science. Right? I don't think Thor makes lightning when I'm studying the clouds.
Wouldn't that meteorological report be a lot more fun?
Yeah, Thor.
On a lighter note, according to the Bible, lost energy that isn't available to do work should not eat. So
I think that's just the Protestant work ethic, right?
Damn it.
Oh, do you want to see it again?
I didn't say that. I don't know. She just sounded like that for real. No. People discussing science and how it's being completely not understood, and in Wes's case, intentionally misunderstood.
Yeah.
That is not someone hating religion. They're correcting misinformation.
Really mad at apologists, like misrepresenting things in a way that, like misrepresenting elementary, right? Like the answers on a Wikipedia, my guy, one Google search and you won't think this, right? So with some like real stubborn ignorance, pushing falsehoods, right? And therefore are like lying to people of faith, and to people who belong to my faith, right? And that does make me very angry, because when people find out they have been lied to, that often causes a lot of anger, and it causes a lot of people to lose their faith, right?
Gee, I wouldn't know anyone that happened to.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone I know and care about who that's happened to, right? And so like that makes me really angry. Yeah, that does make me angry. I don't hate religion. I don't hate apologists, right? I think what they're doing is objectively harmful, right? But I don't like hate them as people.
Maybe we all do.
Maybe.
Oh my god, I have the perfect.
I try not to hate anyone.
I have the perfect thing for this. I have to make sure that I find the right one.
Well, there you go. Tree Clam Tad says, Maddie, Episcopalian is just fancy coffee hour. Grew up Episcopalian, and my mom is an ordained Episcopal priest, and I make that joke to her.
Amazing.
So, but sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to press play again.
Okay.
And we'll see how far we get. Honestly,
that mind form from mindless matter. I would say these are answers that, arguably, in terms of the topic of what we're on the eve of Easter, the resurrection is not one more absurdity. Neither are angels or demons, but the resurrection.
This is just false equivocating.
Okay. First of all, he can put his diaper back on. I can't believe people would denigrate my holy, perfect, one true faith of Christianity. Easter. Some people don't care about Easter. Deal with it. Yeah. 2, life came from mindless matter. Things came from mindless matter. My guy, mindless carbon atoms are making up my body right now.
Yeah. Well, and like neuroscience, not my field, but like not Pelagia, but his significant other, friend.
Shannon Q.
What's up?
Shannon Q.
Shannon Q. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Shannon Q talks about this a lot. About how like the consciousness and all of how all of that as like biological processes. And so again, that's an open field of study, but it's not like we have no idea how that's happening. And so if you're going to go on presenting yourself as an expert and making claims like this, that's just irresponsible, right? It's grossly irresponsible. When again, like a Google search, the Wikipedia page will have answers to this.
Not the AI summary though.
Don't read the AI summary.
On the actual
webpage.
summary.
I've got a rant about AI locked and loaded anytime anybody wants to hear
I
it.
agree with you on all of it. So
yeah.
By the way,
yeah,
Shannon Q will be on the show in either this month or next month with Maya Adkisson, talking about neurology and psychology and fun things like that. So
awesome. Amazing. How fun is it to learn about fields other than your own and have an open mind?
It really is. And this is one of the coolest things about getting into this space and getting into this community is getting to know people who know more than I do. So I'm all for that. Wes Huff is not one of them.
For human beings to learn all of the things. So we tend to specialize.
Yeah. That's one of the most amazing things about humans is that we are able to specialize because we are these like hyper social species, right? So I'm able to spend all day, every day thinking about like math and fluid dynamics and stuff that like 3 other people on planet Earth care about, but it's important and it's going to help forecasts in the future when my work is combined with the work of like hundreds of other people. And you know what I don't know how to do because I'm doing that? Fix my car. Right. And so, hooray, there's someone else in the world who is
there's someone else for that
who I can go to and we can be in community together and they can help me with that. Right. How beautiful a social model is that? Anyway.
I'm so glad that there's proper mathematicians in the world because I don't go very far with mathematics. Algebra, that's about where I stop.
One of these days, I'm going to put together a class. I really want to make a class that's a math appreciation class, right? Like art appreciation. I can't draw to save my life, but I do love art museums, right? And so I really want to figure out a way to share my love of math to people without them needing to be able to do math.
I love math. I found solving equations to be kind of therapeutic when I was in school.
Yeah.
Early signs of neurodivergence. But yeah, the higher forms of math and calculus and things like that was never something that I really applied myself to get under my belt. So I just kind of glaze over. But I'm glad that there are people who can just like do the stuff in their head. Oh, okay. You're the math person.
Yeah. When I'm stressed, I pull up old calculus AP calculus tests and just work through them. It's really calming.
God, that's
literally
pretty
staring
nerdy.
at the AP biology book on my shelf right now.
So, if you hadn't heard, I am famously good at math. But that's another story for another day. I would still be interested in your math appreciation class, Maddie.
Wouldn't that be fun?
So.
I have to say, I'm dyslexic enough that I liked math a lot more when we sort of stopped using numbers.
Nice.
Dyscalculia?
I think it was dyscalculia. Because I would like go through and everything I wrote down was wrong. Right? Every number I wrote was not the number I intended to write. It was wild. It was really wild. I confused a lot of teachers. But here we are. But I got a degree in it. And I love it.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Is the explanation that makes sense of the supernatural world that we talked about in
So just making sense of the supernatural world requires virtually any explanation. If that's the way you're going to go, you can just make shit up as a way to explain this nebulous thing called the supernatural. I mean, that's really where we're at.
Yeah. You can just decide a gnome lives in your house and messes with your plates.
Yes. Yes, you can. You can do that.
Yeah.
That is a thing you can do.
Oh,
Yeah. But also, I think apologists like Wes tend to give the game away a lot more frequently than they might be aware. Because he was like, oh yeah, the supernatural explains, the da-da-da-da-da. Like, homie, if your response to is therefore magic, and then you just stop,
yeah.
that's a problem, because hey, we have these things called thought terminating cliches. And if you go, magic, or God, then what's the incentive to investigate any further? That's a thought terminating cliche. Just go,
and
I don't know.
All of these
I wonder if I can find out.
Yeah, all of these little talking points of like, how did mind come from mindless matter, right? Man, some like marketing department came up with that. But those are a form of thought control, right? From like the bite model, right? Because you can control people's thoughts if you teach them this mantra to say when you have a question, right? Like, well then, but how did the universe come from, how did something come from nothing? How did order come from chaos? Right? Those are well-developed little terms. And so like, and I genuinely think that these are methods of thought control intentionally developed by apologetics ministries, right? To keep people in a high demand religion, right? And hey, you don't need anyway. What do we got? What do we got?
Cheetah, or perhaps Cheetah 10, if you're being all about it. There are 5 fundamental forces in nature: gravitational, electromagnetic, weak nuclear, strong nuclear, and cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, that cognitive dissonance is strong.
It is very.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right.
All sorts of religious perspectives. And I think that people will assume that the supernatural can't exist. And yet at the exact same time, they will, as a conscious human being in a world where we're still not really entirely sure.
Should I let him finish the sentence? No. Okay.
Hard sciences and people who use methodological naturalism do not say the supernatural can't exist. That is not what they say. They don't assume that. They operate as if it doesn't exist. They don't say it can't. That's different. That's a claim, right? That they would have to support until such time as it is demonstrated so that the supernatural exists. It is not a candidate explanation for anything that we're observing in nature.
Right.
So
it's more that it's not that we assume that the supernatural does not exist, right? It is that we do not assume that the supernatural exists. That's not a starting axiom, right? Everything has starting axioms, right? So a starting axiom is going to be, for science, is going to be that like natural processes have natural causes, and if you can recreate those causes, you can get the same outcome. Natural processes have natural causes. So no, I didn't say anything about supernatural.
You know what?
Presumably
Maddie,
a supernatural event would have a supernatural cause that is, again, outside the world of science.
Maddie,
science
you're wrong,
has nothing to say about it.
It's all of the billions and trillions and quadrillions of angels that are pushing the particles together because God told them to. That's what gravity is. You silly materialist, atheist, skeptics, communists don't know that.
I'm crazy, clearly.
I guess it's not all that dissimilar from me pointing out that I operate as if Australia doesn't exist when I'm doing my work.
Yeah.
Because why would I, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just, there we go.
Or what consciousness is, try to explain logically some of these things when, the rules of logic exist objectively, and yet they are outside of time and matter and space. And so
hang on a second.
Time out.
The laws of logic, the human brain invented thing.
Yeah.
That exists objectively in nature?
No. I think
did I mishear him?
No, you didn't.
Where can I go? Where can I go? since this exists objectively in nature, which is like what he said, where can I go to find syllogism?
I love that. And I wonder, so their logic is kind of a weird field because it exists in two spaces. There is logic. You can study logic as a philosopher, and you can also study logic as a mathematician, and they're not the same fields. And I don't actually know. Logic is a form of pure math, like theoretical math, which I do not do. I do applied math. And so I've never taken a formal logic course. There is some argument that like math is a thing which exists, right? Independent
It is a system.
Yeah.
It's not a physical object.
But math is not a physical object, but like
it's a process.
Anyway, that's getting into
language, maybe. Can we get into that?
Yeah. Some weird, like, we're getting down into the weeds in some of these fields, in ways that are like so deep in the weeds they don't affect people, right? And I know that Wes isn't a philosopher, so that's not his field, and so I don't trust him. I have no reason to trust him to accurately represent the philosophical field of logic. If he's thinking about mathematical logic.
Yeah, that's the thing. I strongly do not believe that he's thinking about mathematical logic. I suspect, and I strongly will lean towards, he thinks logic in terms of, Greek logic, philosophical logic, things like that. Things need to make sense and follow a process that, quote, makes sense. I don't think
and if you want to say that,
that'd be too convenient for us.
Yeah, 1 and 1 always equals 2. That's actually
1 times 1 is 2.
Not true.
Don't you listen?
You can construct a set of like axioms where you develop a different number system instead of the real numbers. And so where one is what's called the multiplicative identity, right? You can set up a world where the multiplicative identity plus the multiplicative identity doesn't equal 2. You can say it equals anything you like, and then follow on from there, then logically what will be true from there. And so in any functional useful sense, 1 + 1 is always 2, but in no like esoteric laws of the universe sense is that true, right? Because you can construct a mathematical system in which that is not true. It's not a very interesting one, and it's not very useful, but you can do it.
Okay.
I think he has a few more words to say here.
Okay.
Obviously, things like science and secular materialism can't account for, and I have no qualms saying that supernatural beings exist in light of this very strange supernatural world that we live in.
So finally, on the Bible,
I'm just gonna throw things. I'm just going to throw things as he lists a bunch of things that science has an explanation for and says science can't explain that. Therefore, I'm logical and reasonable in believing in
angels and demons and all these things. Yes.
Homeboy, for someone who seems to like logic so much, you're kind of bad at it, because that B does not follow A from there. Gosh.
Nope. I can't. I had to get up and walk around the house because saying that magic is a better explanation for what we see and observe than the scientific method.
Yeah. Wild.
Girl, bye.
Girl, bye. Yeah. Wild. Especially for someone who has never studied science, right? Like I don't need everyone to be a scientist, but like, again, Wes, that's not even your pool, right? Like, you gotta stay in your swim lane. I'm not over here talking about, I don't know, Dead Sea Scroll texts and Greek. I barely speak English, right? Like I'm not over here talking about that stuff. I'm talking about stuff I know stuff about. And if I'm out of my swim lane, I'm very clear about it. Man, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not explained, my guy.
Well, everything's a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. And in this case, the conspiracy is the devil.
Yeah. This brings me back actually to an ongoing theory I have that apologists, specifically apologists, have just disdain for faith. right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, they don't want
they are
to have faith. They want things to be facts. And it's weird to me that these presumably very religious people, again, scoff at the notion of faith. Anyway, I think it's wild.
No, that's
all
that's very good,
scientists
though.
hate
That's
religion and hate the God-fearing Christians, Maddie, don't you know?
It's wild then that the
Yeah.
majority of
Remember when-
scientists practice faith.
That's
No,
true.
no, because remember when you were awarded your doctorate, they brought you into the secret chambers and initiated you into the cult of scientism. You had to take
Yep.
the vow of atheism, right? Dr. Kill, you had to do that too, right?
I did.
It was
I
very
did,
metal
but,
looking, probably
I
very
didn't
cool.
realize they did that in Oklahoma as well. That's
Yeah,
Oh.
man.
Okay, so
crazy.
maybe it's one of the different like sciences and not one of the humanities that makes you a member of the cult of scientism.
Yeah, they just
Where you
gave me
get
the
to hate all
key
the
to the
God-fearing
weather
Christians.
machine.
Yeah.
They
That's
give
Ah!
you what?
And the Jewish, you know what? Dang it, I don't even have the key to that. Jeez.
yeah.
I do have the space laser though.
Yeah, because my degree is from the University of Oklahoma, where that student wrote
Oh my god.
that essay.
my
Intentionally bad so that she would get attention and get famous off it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow. Well,
It
Vish, do you want to while Vish is bringing up the next video, I'll what kind of snake did Maddie have to fight?
I actually
This is-
had I had to fight a cottonmouth.
Ooh,
What?
wow.
No way.
Yeah.
That's serious.
That's serious.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
serious.
really?
Jinx.
Okay.
Jinx.
I will I'll go through some comments while Vish pulls up the video.
Yeah,
Tree
it's pulled
Clem
up, I just
says
don't-
I have okay, that's good. I have my degree in angel and demon accounting. Bet you didn't know they offered that at DeVry.
DeVry.
And
You know what? I didn't.
I didn't.
Oh.
Little Bit Vic is excited about science and text criticism. We aim to please. Katie Lewis for $5 says, it is my sad duty to inform you that the Dapper fanfic exists. Vishanti has a cameo. It's very silly, and it's also mea maxima culpa. AO3 link in the chat. Excellent.
Amazing.
I really wish I
Yeah.
could go back to a few minutes ago when I didn't know that those words existed in that order.
What does
Oh,
mea
no.
maxima culpa mean?
My bad.
It's my Latin's
That's what it
poor.
means.
Oh,
Is it-
okay, it
is
means my
that it?
bad.
Okay.
Mea culpa.
Alright.
Mea culpa. It's like my bad.
Oh, okay.
Maxima
Gotcha.
culpa
Yes.
is
But
my
my major
bad.
huge bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
my major bigly bad.
all right. Yeah.
Amazing.
I've got a couple more
Me'od.
here.
This would be an appropriate use for me'od.
Scott Graves, thank you for the $10. When are Wes Huff mindless matters dowsing rods dropping in his merch store? Happy Friday, Camp Vish and Dr. Maddie.
Happy Friday, team.
That's quite a merch store that that Wes has going already. It's full of knives and guns and oh yes, of course. For Tree Clam Tad for $2. Did Wes sneak the Glock across the border? Are you familiar? You're familiar with this, Maddie?
Yes, I am familiar.
Yes. Okay. We don't.
I
need to-
lurk in your chats a lot, or I
right.
catch
That's
the
true. You
VOD.
do. I do.
Yeah.
See you around. So yeah. So
Eyeballs
that
emoji.
is that is a very good question. I think we're all dying to know the answer to
Yeah.
that question.
Man.
So I liked Victoria Macario says my math professor cousin calls mathematic a Geisteswissenschaft on the same level as theology and philosophy.
Not in Deutsch.
What does that German word
what
mean?
is it's God. I have to look that one up. It's
Ghost science.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I will say
Spirit science,
theoretical
maybe?
math is in a weird space where oftentimes
Humanities. Okay.
it's merely a humanity, but it's oftentimes theoretical math is a 200 plus years away from being useful.
The
Right?
word is humanities.
Oh, it means humanities. Okay.
Also,
So like
yeah, it was a SIG, not a Glock. It was a SIG Sauer kit.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
It was a sig.
So sometimes theoretical math feels like it's a humanities because it's so out there, but it's often useful about 200 years later.
Right.
Like a lot of algorithms that are used for like Bluetooth signal hopping were developed in the 1800s, right?
Incredible. Wow. Eh?
Yeah.
Or by
That's really cool.
now famous Hollywood starlets.
Yeah.
Like Hedy Lamarr. She helped develop technology that would contribute to Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So,
well, and like Ada Lovelace.
Wi-Fi, it was one of the two. So
Ada Lovelace, who I think was like a contemporary of like Byron, like that era. Her math work wasn't useful. It was like, oh, this is kind of cool theoretical stuff, but it became incredibly useful in computer programming, right? So it just
the 1800s, a lot of drugs happening in the 1800s. I'm not saying if we want to do like crazy amounts of science at light speed that people should start taking amphetamines again.
I mean, I had one of my.
You're not saying that though, are you?
Not saying that.
Right.
Not saying it. I'm not ruling it out.
I had professors tell me that thermodynamics makes a lot more sense in altered mental states.
That's
honestly, some science and math does actually make far more sense to me when I'm in an altered state. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
All right. Domingo Aviles asks, is Wes getting his PhD anytime soon, or does that lie by the wayside? There's pools opening up. I really feel like you should be placing your bets.
Yeah. Hey, I've already put $1 down on him not doing it. I have already said this. I suspect
that he's not going to finish
because he's already punched his ticket.
Pardon?
In a lot of science fields, like a counter, from the day you start, there's a fixed amount of time, and then after that amount of time, your credits don't count anymore, and you'd have to start over. Does that exist in humanities?
Not like that.
Okay.
But there are certainly places, and I mean, I don't know. I finished on time, so I don't know, right?
Okay.
But I am aware that there are certainly places that if you have not submitted your draft, like your dissertation, after like 8 or 9 years, they'll just discontinue your registration. So
okay,
because you're basically at that point, you're basically for like, because most programs will have a fixed limit after which you just pay a or if you're on a scholarship, it's like a continuing registration that renews every year, right? They just stop renewing that.
Okay.
So
gotcha. Because once you hit that's like once you hit ABD.
Erica.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Erica's
Erica's on the side.
Erica.
Erica is a goat. I don't know how she is like.
I'm pretty sure she's ABD.
Yeah, Erica's ABD. I hit ABD and stopped talking to everyone on planet Earth for like 2 years, and then reappeared.
She's doing daily April posts with a doodle and a ukulele tune, plus 5-hour live streams with Will Duffy, plus whatever long form videos, plus whatever live shows and call-in shows. Like how? And
Erica is an absolute goat. She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's
speaking of Will Duffy,
I could never.
Speaking of Will Duffy, no, you're nitpicking. Thanks.
So
Chris Vidslol. And Katie Lewis points out that mea maxima culpa is literally translated my most grievous fault.
Amazing.
That's not correct. In Latin, it means my bad.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the Wes's appearance on Diary of a CEO, and the title that they gave this video, the title that they gave Wes was #1 Christianity expert, which I don't know, maybe just press the goddamn play button, because
I thought you were shitting me when you wrote it.
That is the actual title on the video. Like, it's I mean,
that sounds
not
like a shit post you put in your bio. Like you get on someone's Twitter page and it says #1 Christianity expert. That's a shit post.
Maybe the producers on the show were just trolling him. Maybe they were.
Okay.
I hope so.
They would have to be millennials.
Not even like number one Bible expert. Right? Not number one Bible expert. Not number one Old Testament expert.
Christianity expert.
Just Christianity.
All of it. Christian.
Put that on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt.
Oh God, yes.
Write that down if you're the
don't put it on a shirt
down for good ideas.
Fearless leader will wear it.
All right.
Does Kip make money from that either way? Yes.
Put
it on a shirt.
Yeah. Put it on a shirt.
Okay. There we go.
That's how we get
all the people that don't watch you are gonna buy it unironically.
Yeah. That's how we get
explain it.
What's the word for when there was like the weird two pope situation in France?
Oh, the anti-pope.
Do you want an anti-pope? This is how we get an anti-pope. See, I need.
Okay, but how much energy is released when they like collide?
Ooh, that is a matter-antimatter interaction, and so it's a lot. That's like warp core
Probably
levels.
A lot.
If we ever get another
many people are saying the
anti-pope,
Avignon papacy.
If we get another anti-pope, do you think James?
If we ever get another anti-pope, they better
somebody
better develop that experiment, right?
This pope is the Chicago pope though, so he's not afraid to pick up a baseball bat, and I like that.
Chicago Pope, Blues Brothers Pope, like that old picture of him. Blues Brothers. Cool. I'm here for Blues Brothers Pope, man.
Hey, it's a wild reality where I'm like, yeah, the Pope is cool.
Right. I mean, what is this timeline that we're living in?
Did you know that the current Pope has, of American public figures, he has the highest positive rating of any other American public figure? All Americans are like, we like Blues Brothers Pope.
Yeah.
Listen, let us have this. Okay, first of all, none of the popes ever have been from the United States, so that's a big one for us. It's our first pope. Okay, and he's from Chicago.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like you guys. I kind of feel like you guys needed this one at this time.
We did. We needed a W after all this.
I mean, look what happened when the other one met with our vice president.
Yes.
This one's much stronger. Right. That's okay. That wasn't the level boss.
Okay,
right? That was the mini boss.
So, all right, so hit the speed.
1.25.
Is it set to 1.25? And let's go.
Captain. Let's do it.
If you're looking at a simple selfish DNA perspective, you can't actually ascribe that. Because your DNA, your selfish DNA.
Richard Dawkins. He's talking about Richard Dawkins and
like Dawkins,
as we know, Dawkins, the Pope of Science.
Yeah,
he wrote that pretty good book that one time though, so
it pissed a lot of people off.
The selfish
God
gene?
delusion.
Oh, we're not talking about that one.
Okay.
He's talking about the selfish gene that he wrote a long time ago, which was pretty good.
From a biological perspective, he's right.
Wait, help me out. Never mind. It's fine. I've never read any Dawkins, but also like Dawkins as a person kind of sucks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's, ironically, Wes probably likes him better now. So, but let's go.
Okay.
Just to carry on its selfish DNA. And so in one.
Again, this is just biology. That's what cells do. That's what organisms do. We're pretty unique in the whole can choose not to be selfish and then have a word for selfish in a concept thing.
Hi, Josh.
Oh, hey, it's Josh. Hooray. Hi, Josh and or Megan.
My, to this day, favorite quilt I ever made was the cuneiform baby quilt I made them.
That's so cool. Please send me a photo of that because I really...
I want to see that too.
I will.
Very
it's
cool.
like an alphabet quilt, so it has like the cuneiform word and then a picture next to it.
That's
right?
so...
Josh
so
had to
cool.
help me. It was anyway, I love that. To this day, my favorite quilt I've ever made. By the way, I just looked this up because I wasn't going to say it out loud without confirming. Dawkins is on the Epstein files. So like,
yeah, so was Lawrence Krauss, and so was Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. Oh yay!
So,
I'm so glad they use it
smart
all the
people
time.
can be
I'm
shitty.
sorry you tripped on it.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So he's talking about how like it's genetic advantage to be selfish. Is that the?
Yes.
And he doesn't like that. Selfish
Well,
is bad.
it's also
Well,
not
let's
true for
find
all
out.
organisms. But
all right, let me
sense that child has no bearing on you. Now, it might have like a protective mechanism where you want to figure out why the child got the parasite, and so you try to avoid that in order to not get the parasite yourself. But science can't actually give you an explanation for what the moral implications are in that.
Science doesn't do morals.
So science doesn't do morals. However, and welcome to things I've learned from watching Gut Sit Gibbon. Like there are lots and lots and lots of animals that exhibit empathy, right? That care for other animals in their like thing. And so this is incredibly common in social species. Science can explain altruism. A great little example would be the little orangutan baby that was fully abandoned, right? And then a non-related orangutan was like, "Come here, baby, I hold you," right? And started
Maddie,
taking care of it. So in social species, right, which we are the most social of social species, to my understanding, right? Ask Erica, watch Gut Sit Gibbon. Science absolutely explains altruism and empathy, though humans, apparently one of the things that seems to be unique in extant species, in humans, is that we are able to empathize with things we cannot see, right? So you can come tell me a story about someone or something that's in a bad way, and I feel empathy for it, and I will help even if I never see that person, right? So whether that's fiction or not, right? So like you can tell me a story about a fictional character and I can feel feelings for them, or you can come and tell me like, hey, these people in 3 villages over are going through a bad time and I want to bring them food. Can everybody give me a little food and I'll bring it to them?
Yeah,
humans
for our species, that was a survival benefit.
Yeah,
our social interactions and our tendency towards social societies is what helped our species succeed for so long.
Exactly.
And we traded some features that were not serving us for this massive brain that is able to feed all of these things and conceptualize non-tangible concepts.
Right. So chimpanzees will give food to other chimpanzees. They will empathize and help and be altruistic. They do that all the time, but not if they can't see them, right? Not if they have to create a mental picture of them. But anyway, that's a deeply human and a deeply evolved, that goes deep into our evolutionary history. Again, go see Gut Sit Gibbon for more details.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. Also, somebody else, I just had this scroll. The selfish gene is about the replicators and natural selection being at the level of genes, not organisms.
Oh, okay.
So, I think that was the only one that had drawn my attention.
Let me give you an example.
I think I understand the point there.
Yes.
It's essentially asserting that, like, why does that child matter to me? Because my DNA should just be trying to take care of itself.
People aren't conceptualizing that when they have a child. Well, I passed on my DNA. Animals in the wild aren't thinking, well, I passed on my DNA. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
That's what's called instinct. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not, well, this is so frustrating to me.
Trying to scientifically justify deadbeat dads. Jeez.
Listen, the manosphere would absolutely run with that if they haven't already.
Yeah.
Ugh, please no, that's very
I guess in biology,
most apologetics is to the manosphere. It's like a step.
Yeah.
It's scary, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just there. All praise Gut Sit Gibbon, absolutely.
Yeah.
They
can't handle that there's such a thing as secular morality. No, but we're the source of all that's good in the world, and no one can be good without us in our system. Man, get out of here. So narcissistic.
There's I don't always know who my child is, but also from an evolutionary perspective, if we were raised in communities and tribes, we took care of all of the children.
Sure.
In the surroundings. I would take care of my brother's children and he would take care of mine, therefore.
Yep. Yeah.
And again, that goes back to the point of survival, which means that I'm more likely to survive if I take care of like my community.
Sort of. You read something.
No,
That's sensible.
Almost universally true.
Also says not a biologist, right?
And if he tries to start arguing individualism after having just complained about science can't tell you about morality, I am going to scream.
Yeah. Also, like, science can't tell you about morality. Factual. Morality is not like an observable natural process, right? That's a different field. And not to say that there aren't, like, again, like altruism and empathy, these things have these have like evolutionary genetic origins, right? But like you're getting into like anthropology as a field, which is not like a hard science, you know? That's, I don't mean that to say that despairingly, right? Like anthropology is an important field. My brain doesn't like it because my brain wants math, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you know what I mean, like anthropology,
math can't do history, so
math can't do history, right? Which is why I don't do history.
Different tools for different outcomes.
It's almost like humans are specialists.
Crazy.
Like the origin of species, though. Like Darwin himself, when he's articulating the survival of the fittest, there is an aspect of you shouldn't take care of.
What? Hang on. This is important. In Darwinian evolution, survival of the fittest refers to natural selection, where individuals with traits that enhance their chances of survival are more likely to reproduce and pass those traits on over time. This process leads to the gradual adaptation of a species to its environment. That's true.
Yeah.
So, Kip, you may have been right. They might be trolling him because this is an accurate little community box.
Yeah.
It's not outside the realm of possibility. But what did he just say? He said something about Darwin came to the conclusion that
he's about to say
he's about to do a eugenics.
He's about to do eugenics.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear
here we go.
Let's hear the eugenics.
Because they're actually bringing.
Here we go.
You shouldn't take care of those people because they're actually bringing the genetic gene pool down. So
no, that's just eugenics, and that's not what Darwin. No. Right? Like,
Maddie, do you think any of these apologists or fundamentalist or evangelical Christians, when they start doing eugenics, do you think that it ever like fleetingly crosses their mind that they're the only ones jumping straight to that conclusion when they hear about evolution and natural selection? Does that ever think that ever bothers them?
But I'm actually I don't think it bothers them. I don't think they realize they're doing it because I'm actually gonna bring this back to Kate Bowler and the history of the prosperity gospel.
Where I was going with that is if they, as science hating, not materialist, communist, atheist skeptics, if their first thought after hearing survival of the fittest is eugenics,
right?
Money out of the heart, the mouth speaks.
Yeah, but I think the reason they do that is because in our society, and especially in evangelical Christianity in the modern Western world, there is this notion that your physical state is a reflection of your spiritual state, right? If that someone is disabled or ill, or especially chronically ill,
it's your fault morally.
That this is somehow a moral failing. Right? Not necessarily the initial cause of it, but the fact that you have not been healed of it, you have not received a miracle, must be an issue of faith. Right?
Question. This isn't a physics question, so hopefully your experience will help me here. But as someone who is at least a confessing Christian, isn't there a story in the Bible about Jesus healing a guy and the people nearby going, who sinned so that this guy had this affliction? And didn't Jesus say nobody?
Yes. That sure is a thing.
Oh, okay.
Listen, I'm a professing Christian and I'm chronically ill, right? Like these are things that I wrestle with. There's a reason I love Kate Bowler, right? And I will read anything she puts out. But yeah, so like the eugenics aspect here, right? And is so close. It's right there, and it's so close to, well, anyone who isn't fit, right? That it falls into like disability is a moral failing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's right, and that's deeply embedded in the evangelical mindset, right? In a way that is really upsetting, right? Oh gosh, there was someone on it was on the Data Over Dogma podcast. The Data Over Dogma podcast.
Jesus said, "Verily, it was your mom."
Verily, it was. Yeah. Yeah, Jesus's answer was basically, shit happens, bro. Like, let's try to fix it.
Yeah.
But
isn't that the whole
Dogma
book of Ecclesiastes?
had a great episode where they had someone on who was a scholar of like disability and religion, and looking at like, disability in the text. And so
I know you're talking about. Names on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I am, if you haven't realized it yet, I'm incapable of remembering like specific names. I'm incapable of remembering details. My husband is a genius at those things. He was like a history major. He's the humanities one in the house, right? And if you want to know the date of a random like battle in a Spanish war from the 1500s, he's got it, and he'll tell you the name of the general too. And I don't know how he has that superpower. So yeah, I don't hold those details
Your mom
in my brain.
Jesus probably. Hey,
fun fact. That one.
Damn it, kept.
Sorry.
Now I lost it. Wait, there it is. Okay. So, your mom, Jesus probably, trivia in one of the Talmudic dialogues. I'll be polite and say dialogues, not arguments. In one of the disagreements, a literal conversation occurs where your mom is the comeback. So yeah, there's
that's awesome.
Jokes in Talmud to say.
My favorite thing about like history, right, and learning about people of different times is how deeply human they are. Of like, nuh-uh, your mom, or like
we've been like this forever.
Yeah, we're like kids scrawling in the.
We draw dicks on everything since forever.
We draw dicks on everything.
Yeah, we draw dicks on everything. The Air Force Academy just had to get onto their cadets for flying in dick patterns again.
Humans.
So the name of the scholar of disability on the Data Over Dogma podcast was Isaac Soon.
Thank you. Isaac Soon. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was a great episode. So if you're interested in that concept, and again, this like what we're touching on here of this like that goes to eugenics so fast. That's a great place to go. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's because they misinterpret survival of the fittest, whatever.
Yeah.
So we see even in like the eugenics movement pulling a lot.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wes, I doubt you'll ever watch this. Probably because if you listened to me rant about you before, it probably made you upset and you don't want your pretty Christian ears to have to deal with that kind of hateful rhetoric. But does it ever cross your mind that y'all are the ones that go straight to eugenics and not the scientists that understand how this works?
Yeah. Also, like we can say eugenics bad, and the other thing is that like people take science ideas and do bad things with it all the time, right? This is why like AI, for example.
I'm sorry, just trills above Isaac Soon, Abram. Damn, that's the funniest thing I've read.
That's brilliant.
Good. Good job. Thank you. That was very good. Okay.
So finish your thought, for example, right? People are like mustache twirling evil about AI right now. But there are places where that technology is morally neutral, right? There are great applications of it because it's incredibly good at pattern recognition. And so as a way to like catch like if you feed it on a bunch of like x-rays, right, and make this model incredibly good at early detection of lung cancer, right, then there's things where like AI can do that better than humans because it's incredibly good at pattern recognition from images, right?
But it can't do art, it can't create, it can't think, it can't reason.
Yes. So generative AI, I kind of hate, right? There's maybe one instance of, but I don't know.
That's
some
tech
programmers,
heresy.
yeah, some programmers really like it because it does the boring, hard part of programming. But also
that's
some
also
programmers,
not like the same as creating like art and
exactly.
music. It's engineering, so it's code. It's a lot more like math than it is. Oh, by the way, Bitcores has a very good thing. Environment the organism lived in, and not just strongest or the prettiest or the smartest. So that made me think that when we say survival of the fittest, that is shorthand for survival of the organism in the fittest, in the environment that it's most fit for. Because not I'm the strongest, therefore I win. Like, no, maybe strength isn't a survival advantage where you are.
Yeah, well, there are humans who they're still humans, right? They're not a new species, but they've adapted to very specific remote locations, right? Like living in high altitude.
But also like fur, great in the higher latitudes.
Yeah.
Not great in a desert. So not many desert animals have real thick fur.
Those humans did not adapt to those populations by, say, killing off the people who didn't have fur, right? Like, right? Like that is a process that just sort of is going to naturally happen. And it doesn't need anybody to speed it along, right? This is a natural process. So it's an observation, it's a description, not a prescription. So the anytime we're taking like things of evolutionary biology and say, okay, this is something that we observe to happen in nature, therefore we should do X.
Yeah, exactly.
Bad time. Don't do that.
Also, this is a good comment. Creatures that are best adapted to the current environment. That's the rough bottleneck. Yeah, because I mean, obviously we're causing a lot of sudden climate
hey, we sure are.
Changes, which is in your lane, Maddie. So
it is in my lane.
There's a lot of things that were the fittest for that environment that are not going to be, and we should try not to let that happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Climate change is really bad. We should do something about it. I hope that's not controversial.
I mean, it turns out we're not very fit to survive the environment that we're creating. Just saying, if we want to survive, perhaps we should keep the environment one that we are fit for.
Yeah, it's really hard to survive
from individuals like
and hurricanes,
Darwin
just so you know.
In order to validate the fact that in order to carry on your selfish DNA, this idea of taking care of the marginalized and those on the fringes of society and those who are the lesser thans is not evolutionary advantageous, because survival of the fittest implies that the fittest should survive. And these are obviously not the fittest.
Okay, no. So here's a great little example. Oh my gosh, the person in our hunter-gatherer tribe who knows the best places to get some of the food that we depend on, that we gather. Oh no, their leg got bitten off by a lion. I guess we should let them die. No, like, because like their knowledge is very, right? Like, this drives me insane because it's this idea, this is very, very ableist language, because it's this idea that disabled people have no ability to contribute to a society, or that disabled people have no ability to contribute to a hunter-gatherer society, right? When they absolutely do. Hey, fun fact, old people exist in hunter-gatherer societies, right? The elderly exist and are often venerated, right?
The wisdom keepers.
This is for their contributions, right? There's a you can be disabled, you can and our oldest what's his name, the ice mummy, what it starts with an O? Otzi the ice mummy. He had a very chronic Lyme disease, right? And he has marks all over his body. There's evidence in his remains, that his
people took
community
care of him,
cared for him.
That's right.
They took care of him, right? Caring for the marginalized in our society is deeply human, right? And if you want to come at that from a Christian perspective, then that is something about humans that is God-given, right?
And there are also animals who are social by nature, who spend time caring for the young or the old members of their species, or maybe their pod or their community, and they will mourn the dead.
Yeah.
Like that, there's the whale that pushed her little dead calf around for like what, weeks?
That's right.
You know, elephants famously mourn their dead. I believe corvids as well. So it's like, listen, this seems to be a survival advantage and like kind of something that emerges from becoming a social species.
Right.
These are going hand in hand.
And so the
not like
is
magic. Now you're altruist too.
You don't, altruism isn't magic, right? And like, again, you don't need a religious framework to get to altruism. However, altruism should very easily fit into your religious framework, right?
I want to believe what the cetaceans believe. That's what I want. Sign me up.
There's whales and I think whales will sometimes they'll help those who are having trouble swimming to the surface to breathe.
Wow,
Damn.
Right? Like
social animals are great.
Social animals care for each other.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm just like I know what he's going to say to this. Anyway.
It's actually a Judeo-Christian ethic in the understanding.
Hey, spoiler alert real quick. There's no such thing as Judeo-Christian.
No.
Stop saying that.
There's not.
Thanks.
Understanding of everybody having equal value, that we should be taking care of people because they have intrinsic value, not extrinsic value, that allows us to then even import.
That's also a value across non-Western religions as well.
An idea of taking care of those who are.
Sorry, question. Instead of Judeo-Christian, if you want, would it be more appropriate to refer to like Abrahamic religions? Is that a better? No. Okay.
No, because those two categories, Jewish and Christian, they don't just get lumped together.
Okay.
There are so many philosophical, moral, textual, social, culture, all these differences make them unique enough to where you can't hyphenate them. There are a few things that are in common, but it's more like universal things.
Okay. But a lot of Christians want to appear to be tolerant of other religions, and so they say.
So with Judeo-Christian, number one, it's a way to do Islamophobia, but with a nice, pretty paint coat on it. Number two, it's a way to erase Judaism because it's always made in reference to something that is very culturally Christian.
Okay.
So like, there's not a Judeo-Christian worldview. There are Christian worldviews. There are Jewish worldviews. There's not just
You're
one.
probably better off just saying something like Western religious.
You could say Western religions. You could just say Christianity, because 99% of the time that's what they mean when they say Abrahamic or Christian.
But if you're not meaning that, right? Like if we're trying to figure out, I think if I'm hearing you correctly, Maddie, you're trying to figure out a way from a Christian perspective to be inclusive with your language of other religious perspectives that share the
like
same,
share like a holy text, right?
Shared values and things like that, right? Yeah. So
and like these two, they share the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah. Or parts of it.
Parts of it. But it's like even then there are massive differences in the way those texts are read. So even then, I would say even Abrahamic is not great because there's more than 3 Abrahamic religions.
That's true.
There's at least 5, I think maybe 6 or 7. But like when people say these terms, they know what they mean. And it seems intuitive, but it's one of those things that seems really great on the surface. It's really not super great,
so I think what I'm hearing you say is it's better to just be specific about what you're referring to. If I'm referring to people who religious groups that read and consider the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, holy texts, I could say that, or or just to be specific about what I mean.
Yeah, but also like in this case, Wes isn't talking about the Hebrew Bible or the Torah.
Right.
He's using it as like a cultural shorthand, and that's definitely not how that works.
But it's specifically
imagine
in this
Zoroastrian influence
theology.
I like that.
In this instance, it is specifically being used by Wes to denigrate Islam or Eastern religions, or like it's,
and I think
that
it's
is
also,
that is the point.
Yeah, because he was just saying about how there's a very important shared value of the intrinsic worth of the individual that is not restricted to any Western religions or any religions. So
there's a lot of Eastern religions that do it better. Okay. I had a I was also going to point out.
Noise Ending says, I grew up basically being told that Judaism is Christianity without Jesus.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things, is like my role is to show people that Judaism is its own system and has its own history, its own text. It is not diet Christianity. It's not Christianity without the Jesus calories. So
yeah. Oh, I never growing up, because I grew up evangelical. Judaism wasn't presented to me as diet Christianity. It was like the other way around. Like it was Christianity with way more rules and no Jesus. But
that is true.
I also thinking about it now, that term Judeo-Christian and trying, especially in an evangelical framework, they're off, because there's like a lot of evangelicals have such a hard on for Israel, right?
I know.
They're trying to like,
it's because it's main character syndrome
to Israel somehow.
Syndrome. They're like, well, if all the bad shit happens and the apocalypse goes down, Jesus will come back and then we win. So it's just again, main character syndrome. I will say Katie Lewis brings up that Dr. Justin Sledge, who I love, that's one of my homies, has suggested Western apocalyptic traditions. That's actually pretty cool.
Okay, I like that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Pretty cool.
Hey, I like to know how to do stuff better.
Me too.
Excellent.
Sometimes I say things in a dumb way, and I don't want to be dumb.
Yeah, I have only ever heard maybe one person who's not an evangelical Christian use Judeo-Christian, just in common. Like, uh-oh.
You all right there, Maddie?
What weather phenomenon is happening?
No, that was actually an Amber Alert. But I was concerned it was going to be a tornado.
Yeah, right.
Did you see? You could tell I grew up in tornado places, because I was like,
it's tornadoes. It's tornado time in tornado season. But
God,
they tend to happen like kick off like 5-6 o'clock in the evening. It has to do with like the thermodynamics. That's when they're most likely to kick off. But no, we're good.
Cool. Science of tornadoes.
They're so wild.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, we're watching this.
Yeah.
Yes. Talk about tornadoes later.
Are not necessarily specifically related to me and mine. And it comes back to, okay, where are we grounding?
Except that one specific branch of Western Christianity is.
Yeah.
That's the evangelical side, to which he belongs, which is hyper individualistic. It doesn't want to say that.
Right.
But it is.
It is. It's hyper individualistic. It's very there's a lot of, at least I felt this as like a teen and a young adult. This was kind of what triggered my deconstruction, was that like the church was only interested in what I could do for them, right? I was only a valuable member of the community if I was donating my time and energy, right? Yeah. And when I did not have that, or when I needed things from the church, when I needed support, right? Then I was not a valued member of the community, right?
They're just a TikToker that did this.
I don't know. I'm not on TikTok.
They're like, hey, I'm in need. And they called a bunch of churches.
Oh, that one.
Oh,
and
right. Yeah.
Most of them turned this person down.
Yeah.
One of the places that didn't turn them down, a mosque.
My only, the overall framing of that is like fully legit. There were several places that like tried to refer her to, oh, this is the resource that has all of that, and that was still counted as a not giving help, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
I didn't, but that's my autistic brain being nitpicky and about rules, right?
We're here for it. That's you know.
I'm Jewish. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Rules.
It's
Let's
half my
talk about it.
audience,
Let's debate
honestly.
them.
Yeah, like my
We can
church
spend hours doing that.
doesn't have its own food pantry
Mhm.
because we collaborate with several other churches and have one big one, right? So it's a pooling of resources thing. And so if somebody had called like my church, they probably would have been said, you need to call this group, right? They can get that.
This
for
is
you.
it. And I was not surprised by any of these. The TikToker in question got help from Jewish places, Islamic places, Black Protestants, again, community, hugely based on community, Buddhists and Catholics. Yeah. And if you ever need food and you just happen to be in a place that has sick folks, like the Sikh, the guys wear turbans, they will feed you. That is
feed you.
like part of their religious beliefs is that they are to feed like people in need of food. So
yeah,
shout out to the Sikhs. Okay, back to Wes, fortunately.
This objectivity in, because there have been societies that have attempted to do it in like a might is right aspect, and you ground the objectivity of what we say is right in a society that says this is better for the most amount of individuals within a particular community.
I think about
a might is right community.
For someone who belongs to the Commonwealth of the British Empire to say, but you know, I'm just American. I live in a different empire. Where the Southern might makes right. You know.
I also don't know if he's I don't know if he's using all the words correctly there. Because I understand might is right to mean those who, I mean, I guess you could do it on a demographic scale, but when you hear that term, it's usually a smaller group exerting more power and more strength to get their way.
Isn't it usually like the opposite of divine right of kings?
Democracy.
Right?
Yeah.
Your choices are be the strongest one or convince everyone God let you be king. Like,
I mean, also in his mind, he was talking in a historical sense.
Yeah.
The whole reason that the Western Hemisphere, like specifically all of the Americas, are overwhelmingly Christian and specifically Roman Catholic is because might makes right. People were like, hey, Spain discovers this new landmass and is like, all right, we're just going to live here now. There's already people. Yeah, kill them. Yeah. So that was literally might makes right. You know, they weren't controlling the diseases they brought, but they damn sure controlled all the warfare. So,
hey, there's a really great in Oklahoma City. There's a new, like within the last 5 years, new museum. The First Americans Museum. That's what it is. First Americans Museum. And it has a really, really, really wonderful exhibits, specifically talking about just how the Native Americans of North America were wiped out by diseases. Like already 80 to 90% of the population was dead by the time the Pilgrims arrived. Right.
Yep.
Which is not a thing.
Portugal.
That's taught. Yeah. Which is not a thing that's ever taught in schools. No. And really reframes how we might think about.
Yeah, there are some pretty short form videos on YouTube about this. But yeah, they talk about how disease killed a huge, like millions of people before what would become, you know, the U.S. Pilgrims arrived. So when they were like, oh wow, nobody lives here, we can just like move right in. That's why.
Yeah. Virgin soil epidemics, like in the Americas, was more than twice as deadly as the Black Death. The Black Death killed about a third of Europe, right? And we're talking about 80 to 90% of the population in the Americas were killed by.
And you know why the indigenous folks died in such numbers? They were geographically isolated from the populations that got these diseases, and they did not have an immunity.
Yep.
So we're talking about in the strictest biological sense, when that disease came into the environment, it very quickly determined which people were fit to live with smallpox.
Yep.
Rampant running around. Yeah. And that's not a moral judgment. That's just fucking viruses doing what they do. But yeah, it's like...
It's horrible. It's a horrible thing that happened. Right?
Yeah.
Especially once those diseases were intentionally... Yeah, measles blankets, right? Measles and smallpox blankets. Once that became weaponized, now we're talking about a moral issue.
Now we're talking. Because, that's not the virus just doing whatever. Ugh, that's so gross. Oh, wait. People had COVID parties. My bad.
People are dumb. Okay. All right.
So ridiculous.
Hey,
Yuval Noah.
Yeah, Harari.
We're in this book Sapiens where he says that the real...
on the House floor because he opposed, or he was for Medicaid expansion. And now he's not allowed to talk at the state House of Representatives anymore.
Who is this?
The chief of my tribe. I am an enrolled member of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma. And my Chief Hoskins Jr., we like him a lot, Chuck Hoskins. He does really good things for the state and the tribe. And he spoke. So the Cherokee Nation is, like, if not the biggest, second biggest tribe in the United States. And they're also one of the wealthiest. Because they got those tribe-run businesses going, and then they reinvest in the community, and it's wonderful. So he speaks at he speaks in DC a lot, and then he also speaks at the House a lot. Dr. Maddie is a Cherokee citizen. They helped me pay for a lot of my education, actually.
Woohoo!
So great.
I know.
Wow.
I'm very grateful. Anyway, hey, Indigenous folks over here taking care of their communities, and but we don't listen. Is Mark Wayne Mullen a member of my tribe too? Yes. This is not a win for Indigenous people. We don't like him. He is bad.
Now you understand. Now you understand what Jews have to go through with Ben Shapiro and Stephen.
Oh, bless. Yeah.
Because they're shitty people, but you can't untribe them.
Yep.
So
that's the same.
Unless we bring back Hiram.
Governor is also Cherokee. And the Cherokee, before Twitter was X, the Cherokee Twitter of the, like, good morning to all however many thousand, except for this one.
Nice.
It was great because
deeply relatable. Deeply relatable.
Yeah. You can't.
Okay.
You can't disenroll
let me
them.
see. I'll read the community notes real quick before I hit resume. Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens argues that our ability to create shared myths allowed humans to cooperate and build complex societies. This contrasts with the more biological perspective, like Dawkins's quote-unquote selfish gene, by emphasizing the role of collective beliefs in shaping human behavior. But the selfish gene was about individual cells. It wasn't about societies and large organisms.
Yeah, so wild. Things that apply to cells can't be extrapolated to communities. Yeah. Biology and anthropology are different fields for a reason.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Defining trait of our species versus other species was our ability to collaborate and basically scratch each other's backs. And that meant that we had evolutionary advantages, because if we could work together in a big group and we could believe in stories and we believe in money and prison and governments, etc., we could band together and take on the lion, or band together.
Corvids have entered the chat is all I'm saying.
Biology.
Yeah. But yeah, I think like the longer this interview goes, the more I think Kip was right that they might be trolling this dude.
Yeah.
I like that answer, by the way.
Well, whatever. And it's actually that, in part, there you have, like, I need to take care of you, you need to take care of me, and we're going to reciprocate that altruism and increase our survival chances.
Altruism refers to the selfless concern for the well-being of others, often involving actions that benefit others at a personal cost. It could be viewed as an evolutionary advantage, as looking after your family, for example, could increase the chances of your genes being passed on. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, that might explain why I care about that kid. Because the species that didn't, they would never have been able to band together and take on the elephant.
Yes. I think it's largely our modern perspective, living in a society where we are starting on second base already with our moral perspectives, right? We have...
No, we're not more moral
No.
than past humans. No.
Is that what he's saying?
Morality is relative to the time and culture that you live
Yeah,
in. my
we're not
boy.
more moral. We might have more words to explain why
Yeah.
we do things or to make arguments, right?
Also,
And
this
Yeah.
big ass brain that's sitting in
Yeah.
this big ass skull.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's putting you on second base.
Yeah.
Right?
Also, like, trying to understand the most moral way to run a city government, right, is much more complex than how do we in a 50-member tribe behave morally.
Mhm.
So if you want to think
Mhm.
about like where we have an advantage, right? We've worked out some stuff. It has more to do with like governance of large numbers, right? And we're not very good at it.
Question. So when the
But,
air
like-
pressure conditions are just right to form a tornado,
Yeah.
and that rips through a town or even just a forest and knocks a bunch of trees down, is that moral or immoral?
That's amoral.
Huh. Okay.
Huh. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Inherited
people's
all of these moral
response-
categories because of our Judeo-Christian ethic.
No, they did not
No.
inherit any Judeo morals from that.
Right.
Because
But
the
people
framework doesn't exist.
people's response to go help their neighbor after that tornado, that's just a human thing. They would have done that 2,000 years ago too.
That's hey, we're social species and we have this thing called empathy.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating to listen to this guy.
If you look at basically every society prior to this, or even societies in the East, that's not a given, right? That's not an assumption.
I'm sorry, I'm throwing things at my
Used?
computer.
I beg your finest pardon. Did he just
Oh.
imply that Eastern cultures don't have like intrinsic worth of the individual and aren't altruistic?
And almost every ancient culture, not just Eastern
Yeah.
cultures, Eastern cultures plus almost every ancient culture.
I'm not
That's what I heard.
Listen, I don't know much about Eastern religions, admittedly, but one of I went down a rabbit hole one time learning about a type of Buddhism in Japan, right? And for Buddhist monks in Japan, they had this idea that their own physical, like the degree of their personal physical suffering was proportional to their ability to like do spiritual good, right? So the more that they individually suffered, the more they would be able to positively influence their community, right? And so there's this story about a monk who was traveling and he saw a village there was a plague going through the village, right? And what he did was he plucked out his own eye, right, to cause himself immense personal suffering, which enabled him to sort of cure this disease that was going through. Point being, cool story, right? Interesting perspective. But my point there being, this was in the story a community he had no personal ties to. It was just his responsibility as a spiritual leader, right? Or as a person to do good where he could, and if it cost personal sacrifice, right? So the idea of personal sacrifice for the betterment of the whole seems deeply embedded in Eastern culture. What very little I know about it,
I'm gonna let him say this again, just so that I can clearly remember
these moral categories because of our Judeo-Christian ethic. If you look at basically every society prior to this, or even societies in the East, that's not a given, right? That's not an assumption, especially in societies that have, say, understandings of karmic cycles, whether that's in like Buddhism or Hinduism. The idea of altruism can be categorized as an evil because in the cycle of samsara, of birth, life, death, and rebirth, you are actually your lot in this life is due to your wrongdoing in the last life. So in helping someone like that, you are actually inhibiting them from being reincarnated better on.
This is projection because the people that are most unlikely to help the downtrodden are evangelicals. Because you feel like it's a handout or that you're lazy and you don't want to work. You're just doing this for the welfare. That group is overwhelmingly going to deny those people any kind of like assistance or social programs because that's how they think. So Wes, stop projecting. He doesn't know anything about Eastern religions.
No.
This is this is racist. Honestly,
And this is
just
I think
ignorant
this is a
racism.
general.
Yeah.
It is. This is I think this is a fairly general principle that will serve you well. Don't depend on people to accurately represent religious ideas and systems that are completely foreign to them and that they're already antithetically predisposed towards. That is just that's why you should never listen to any Christian apologist when they start talking about Islam or start talking about Buddhism or Hinduism,
Eastern
because they
religions.
do not know what the fuck they're talking about.
Also,
They don't.
Okay, I just want to point something out. Japan has one of the lowest rates of Christianity, right, in the world, right?
Yes.
And
just got
do you
rated
know-
by Skeptic Haven. What's up?
What's up, Skeptic Haven? Do you know what population, what demographic is the number one like group that commits crimes in Japan?
Is it white people?
It's American
tourists?
service members.
What a shock!
American service
What a
members stationed in
shock.
Japan are the most they're the most likely to do crime, right?
Why
There's something like number of murders in that entire country is like less than 400 a year, right?
There's this thing, the American, like the United States mindset you're taught from a very young age. You can just go wherever and do whatever the hell you want, and there's shouldn't be any consequences because God, guns in America.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Simone writes, what are the bodhisattva vows, Wes? What does a bodhisattva do in the world? Who does a bodhisattva accrue merit on behalf of? It's all sentient beings, Wes. It's for the sake of all sentient beings.
Can someone help me understand that? Understand the...
Oh, so one of the vows is like about your personal suffering and the things that you go through in this life, and you're doing it not because you're trying to shed your own bad karma, it's because you're trying to do that on behalf of other people because you don't want them to suffer.
But what is a
bodhisattva?
Mm-hmm.
Simone, if you want to type like a quick sentence in there, that'll help. I don't want to explain it wrongly.
Okay.
But I believe they're similar to monks. But yeah, the
members of
chat is already saying they themselves forego enlightenment or nirvana because they're trying to help other people. So it's basically the most selfless version that you could be in that. So yeah.
That's such a beautiful that's so beautiful. I love there is so
but no, because of our superior moral Judeo-Christian values, you see, Maddie.
Yeah. I haven't read much into Buddhism. I've definitely, but in a religious person with a chronic illness, right, and that journey, there's a really great book that's called How to Be Sick, and it brings a very westernized, but like a little bit of an introduction on like Buddhist understandings. And I have to say that like adopting some more Eastern perspectives on like for myself and my own like religious and faith journey with a like disability, like they're way better at handling disability and chronic illness than Christianity is, frankly. Right. Definitely had to like go outside my own faith to like find a way to
there's also, Maddie,
understand it,
whenever you want to spend a couple hours chatting, I can tell you about the incredibly like foreign cultural reference point that Judaism has as opposed to Christianity in terms of like caring for your sick and your dead.
I love that.
So, and it's a whole thing.
One of the things that I love about Episcopalianism, right, is and it's I love the liturgical calendar, right, because I love Lent. I
was going to say I like routines.
No.
You're a divergent answer for me. I love liturgy.
I do like routines, but I really love both Advent and Lent, which are specific times in the calendar that are set aside to be sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It's pretty great because, like in evangelicalism, the only acceptable emotion is happy because
yes,
and you can only talk about suffering in the past tense, right? And like that doesn't really work. Like, it was the first time I went into like an Episcopal church, and it was during Lent, and there were songs all in minor keys about being sad. And I was like, this is great.
It turns out humans being a social species means that we're healthier if we process our feelings, particularly grief, the big one.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me that so many cultures develop mechanisms around ritualized processing of grief.
Wild.
It's good for us.
Yeah, it turns out it's really good for you. I think evangelical churches would be way healthier if they adopted some rituals around grief. Like,
just let yourself be sad for a while. It's okay.
Yeah, but we can't. We have to be happy because they're in heaven, and that was the whole point.
Unhealthy, man. It's
unhealthy.
On the other side. So an idea like altruism doesn't exist within that Eastern society. And if you look in the...
Hang on. I want this on the record.
Yeah.
I want it on the record.
I'm with you, Maddie.
Last life. So in helping someone like that, you are actually inhibiting them from being reincarnated better on the other side. So an idea like altruism doesn't exist within that Eastern society. And if you look in...
It's racist as hell.
We could just do it all together, right?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Fuck off.
Oh yeah, this isn't Dapper's channel. Fuck off, Wes. That's racism.
Thank you.
The only comment that I've ever left on Wes Huff's channel that I can remember is a very long one where he was, oh no, Mr. Charlie Kirk, it's so me. He started whining and wringing his hands about it. It was one of the most grotesque things that I have ever witnessed. This may have just overtaken it for the most disgusting, immoral, inhuman take that I have ever seen Wes have.
Yeah. If I'm going to call it, it's 2:21 is the timestamp right now. If somebody wants to clip that out of this stream.
Altruism doesn't exist in helping people in the Eastern side.
What about the story?
Maybe it's because he's Canadian that
he
is more direct about his racism. Because in America we do dog whistles, but holy shit, Wes! Holy shit! You should repent for that, man.
Yeah.
The ancient world. Let's pick on the Babylonians. The Babylonians, if they were to read Dawkins's River Out of Eden, would basically...
Were the Babylonians?
No. Keep
not
going.
Altruistic? Okay.
Keep going.
Right.
We say, yeah, exactly. Right. So they have this creation story. It's called the Enuma Elish. And it's this big battle of the gods, and it's an origin story, an attempt to explain why everything is here. But the conclusion of it is basically, you are a product of a big battle and a mistake, right? The one god loses, and you, everything around you, the earth, the sky, it's just the remains of the gods that lost.
Okay,
I mean,
so this is quite... Stop.
Ugh.
This is possibly... the worst explanation I've ever heard of the Enuma Elish. I had the opportunity to watch this ahead of time too, so I have pulled up now. He basically said, I think he's basically trying to say that the Babylonian worldview, as represented in the creation story of the Enuma Elish, is about blind, pitiless indifference in terms of in terms of the creation of humanity, because they were created, humankind was created out of the remains of actually Kingu, who was the leader of the forces of Tiamat in the battle with Marduk.
He was one.
But this is just this is just the most uncharitable reading that I can think of with regards to this text. And I mean, I've got it here. I can just look at it and tell you what it says here in oh shit, I need to go back to the other I've got another bookmark here. Here we go. So after Marduk defeats Tiamat and creates the world, the cosmos, the gods celebrate, and it says this: when Marduk heard the speech of the gods, he made up his mind to perform miracles. He spoke his utterance to Ea and communicated to him the plan that he was considering. Let me put blood together and make bones too. Let me set up primeval man. Man shall be his name. Let me create primeval man. The work of the gods shall be imposed on him, so that they shall be at leisure. Let me change the ways of the gods miraculously, so they are gathered as one, yet divided in two. And this is what they do. So it's within the Babylonian mindset. It's probably fair to say that humankind is designed and created with a station of subservience to the gods. It's absolutely not purposeless, and it's absolutely not indifferent in any stretch of the imagination. And it's not the result of an accident either. It's just these are the raw materials that we have to work with, that I as the God have to work with in creating these beings. And that's how it goes. But the really crazy thing about this is that this is the background. This is the background noise behind the Genesis 1 creation story. It's effectively doing the same thing, just in a slightly different way. Okay.
And I think a lot of a theme from me, a full lay person who's just a nerd for this stuff and listens to Kip and Josh and Tan a lot. A theme that seems to be in like ancient Near Eastern creation stories is this idea of like, why is trying to explain why man is different than other animals, right? That man is sort of like chosen by God. To quote the late great Sir Terry Pratchett, the place where the fallen angel meets the rising ape. Yeah.
Yep. Go old Terry.
Yeah.
So Tree Clam Tad for two. Wes Huff is a bag of AIGs. Indeed.
I was going to point out,
Kip, I will ask you to read this one because I know that you are familiar with the at least pronouncing this.
Otfan med Ves, Hanford, I don't know half of this. Jarlvins Kuken. Yeah, sorry.
If I were to guess at the first sentence, I can't with Wes. Am I close? I don't know.
Could be. What you were saying,
but also the Babylonian
hold on.
creation narrative isn't quite on the same level as the Egyptian one about the ejaculating into the
sure, yeah,
universe.
but that, I mean, there's a Sumerian one like that. Sorry, you were saying something, Maddie?
I don't know nearly as many of the like of like Cherokee mythology and folklore as I wish I did. But one of the things that I think is really interesting is a lot of times, so like Earth is made by a beetle, right? Just a regular ass beetle who like starts to collect dirt together that allows others to stand on it, right? And fire is brought to the world. There's a whole story about how like bear tries and then an eagle tries and all of the different animals try. And the one that succeeds is the water spider, who walks across the water to the island where the fire is and then weaves a net and carries a coal back and walks on the water. And I love the themes there of the smallest and weakest, right? And most vulnerable creatures being so important and integral to the creation and to the culture. And I really like that. And so to Wes's notion that there is either a patriarchal Christian Western evangelical view on creation, and that is the one good way, and that's the only way you get altruism.
Everyone else is wrong,
and everything else is wrong and bad and doesn't have altruism in it, and it doesn't have
and scary
care for the marginalized in it. It's just not true, right? And it speaks to, frankly, deep ignorance and deep racism.
I want to put this last Wes Huff quote on a shirt.
Oh yeah.
The altruism, morality don't exist in Eastern cultures. Like, I just want to put that on a shirt and just put it like, quote, write whatever he said, and then put Wes Huff and just wear that to like ETS.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just, it needs to be a screenshot with like a speech bubble.
I would do a
It
line
does,
drawing
yeah.
of his face or something. So
I love it. Yeah.
it'd be a big hit there, I'm sure.
So meaning, value, purpose, not really ultimately. You're just the product of timeless, matterless chance as well. It's just framed within a religious perspective. Whereas
Yeah, they definitely think people are worthless and have no purpose. That's
Yeah.
definitely what a karmic cycle is telling you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, that's
Things
definitely
have
the
so
conclusion you
so
should
much
take.
non-purpose that you accrue bad karma because of it.
Yeah. Also, that's definitely the he's totally also talking about evolution, right? Evolution teaches people that you have no
Yeah.
purpose. My guy, no, you've moved from a science to a philosophy, and those are different fields.
Also, one could
Yeah.
argue that because social species develop altruism
Mhm.
at some stage in their, becoming more
Mhm.
social, one could argue that that is their evolutionary purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just saying.
And
Just
listen,
saying.
that is not a difficult concept to bring into a religious perspective, right? If you have the religious perspective that God is the creator and God is good, well, then out of that goodness of altruism naturally develops, right? Look, I did theology in 20 seconds or less. It wasn't hard.
Right.
Right?
Chuck is writing, it's this natural man is evil mentality. Only Judeo-Christian values can fix this broken system. Yeah, there's a very specific evangelical theology that natural refers to the flesh, and that's bad because your
Mhm.
human nature is inherently bad from the
Mhm.
very first moment that you're ever like about to be brought into being. So anything that's natural is bad, and anything that's spiritual is good. Well, unless it's not Christian, then it's evil demons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's like the Bible quote that was up on the gem in my high school of "I beat my body and make it my own." Right? That's
Yeah.
healthy. That doesn't give children a complex.
No, right? Not at all.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
And the ghost of Saddam. Yes,
Alright.
man. Chat's been doing really good.
Chat,
helping
I
me.
love chat.
As
Yeah.
Dawkins
Yeah.
frames it in a natural materialistic perspective. So where do we get
Ugh.
the categories to even say that we should be taking care of people in communities outside of our specific community? Because in some cultures, they have the ethic of love thy neighbor, but in others, it's eat thy neighbor. And so the question is, which society do you
It's
want to pick?
eat,
And you're
it's eat thy
Which
neighbor.
cultures are those?
Which cultures are
Yes.
Which cultures
Eat
are
your
eat thy
neighbor.
neighbor? We can talk about like cannibalistic cultures that have existed, but a lot of times, a lot of cannibalism is rooted in like death rituals, right?
Yeah.
Right.
About like, I'm gonna miss
Yeah.
you so much, I'm gonna take part of you into me.
Yeah.
Right?
Or perhaps I want to take your power or your strength and vitality for myself, but also like short.
Yeah.
Also, he's not using the from a biblical perspective, he's not using the terminology correctly either. Because your neighbor within the teachings of Jesus is a specific person. It's actually not foreigners.
Yeah.
Right.
These are people within these are your neighbors, right? Like these are your tribe, the people that you're living with.
Yeah.
And it's
Wait, they weren't.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Mashika didn't eat.
They weren't. They did
the
human
offerings,
sacrifice. to
They
the
I
gods.
mean they would do blood rituals, but they didn't eat their neighbors.
as did
And
the
yeah,
Israelites.
Kip, what you were saying, like I was just talking to someone about this story that you mentioned this week, and I had to explain to a bunch of non-Christians this story from the Bible, and I got it down to like 2 or 3 sentences, and I said, so the end of the result, who is your neighbor? The person who needs you. That was the point of the story.
Good.
So that's in my mind, again, but yeah, it's exactly like you were saying. Okay, Selah.
Yeah.
I will hit play.
saying that came from Judeo-Christian values?
Yes.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree that. I think I'm trying to understand if it's innate in us from a God, what's good and evil, or whether it's, we all subscribe to a culture that was, the foundation of that was these Christian values. And which one is it?
Yeah, well,
was I born with a good and evil, or was 2,000 or 3,000 years ago when Jesus came to be and we had these books, did that just influence them?
Yeah, well, I think ultimately there's an aspect of our conscience that's imprinted on us that we understand ethics to some degree or another. But the frame.
See, this is when he starts painting himself into the corner, because the obvious question, if it's even to some degree that people understand this, you're going to have to explain why different cultures and different societies have different morals. He's already painted himself into a corner. Either everyone intrinsically understands it to get to some degree, but then other cultures don't look like this one.
Yeah. Well, and like the hard thing is that there are babies have empathy, right? And in the evangelical worldview, you would take that and be like, look, babies are empathetic, therefore babies understand good from evil in a Christian sense, right? I was like, no. There are certain things that are pretty innate to being human, right? And other people suffering, making us uncomfortable, right, is one of those. That's pretty innate.
Turns out, if I see someone suffering, I want to try to make it stop.
I want to try to, yeah. That's pretty innate. How that turns into like a religion, right? Because like, what purpose does the religion serve in the society, right? Again, that's anthropology. I don't know.
Yeah, this is a whole anthropology, sociology.
Yeah, that's anthropology, but like that's not directly theology. That's not biology, right? These are different things, and you can't ask biology to comment on theology in the same way you cannot ask theology to comment on biology, right? We need to understand what conversation we're having, right?
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Not a
cosign.
Yeah.
Work to actually find the objectivity of that ethic is found in the revelation of specific revelation in Scripture.
Do you believe in
Now that's
good luck, buddy.
Right.
Trying to get everybody to believe that their intrinsic morals come from the Bible.
Yeah, because now we've moved from cool things about humans to my specific
Christian
beliefs.
supremacy.
Right. It's a new premise. We're talking about different things.
Specifically evangelical, in his case, Calvinist. Supremacist
Oh,
theology.
he's a Calvinist.
Oh,
Yes, he is.
Of course he is. You couldn't tell by the
Yeah.
stink coming off of that racist screed.
Bleh.
Yeah, very.
Calvinists are the worst.
I don't.
You don't believe it's true?
No. I am open to the fact that I don't think that a belief in evolution undermines Christianity in any way. However, and prefacing this by saying I'm not a scientist. I'm an advocate for intelligent design. And
that's just young Earth creationism with extra steps.
Well, intelligent
Maddie,
Earth creationist.
Maddie, tell us.
Yeah.
Maddie.
Yeah.
Go, Maddie.
So intelligent design means that sure, we see evolution happening, we see changes over time, right? But that's all God designing everything every step of the way, right? It's a very consider the trees kind of approach to science, right? It's very, but look, and it's also very complex things can't come about naturally, right? That is that's a baked in assumption, right? Something cannot be functional and complex and not designed. That's the base assumption. So intelligent design, he's going to say irreducible complexity.
Yeah.
Intelligent design proponents are generally old Earth creationists, right? Which is better. Like they're denying less science. They're denying less about the reality of the world. But they really seem to need to for scientists to say that God's hand is in how this animal exists, right? They need that to be true, right? Now, if you, again, philosophically, if you want to go look at the trees and look at the beauty of nature and look at how cool whales are, right? And have that like speak to you and some sort of like religious or philosophical, or even, just like, oh, that's beautiful, right? The way that we look at the world and awe, and you consider that type, you associate that awe with God. Go for it, right?
Did you see the moon last night? That was amazing.
All of my undergraduate research was like on the moon, and specifically on craters on the moon. And seen some of the photos from Artemis, and in the Science Friends chat being to look like, oh, look, this type of crater is like this, and this is how big it is.
Look what arrived in the mail today. It's my Artemis 2 patch from NASA.
Nice. I love it. Oh, my Lola mug is at work. It's not here. Lola was the mission that I worked on that mapped the moon. And so that we made a very detailed, I say we, I was a little undergraduate intern. They use laser altimeters to make a very precise map of the moon in support of the Artemis missions, right? So we need to have a good map first. And then I helped with the data, initial data analysis of that, and data kind of cleanup, right? So filtering out bad points. And then I also used it to measure craters and do some really cool stuff.
That's awesome.
It was really fun.
Also, since you're into the Artemis mission as well,
yeah,
they're finally, because I knew they had to, it would have been stupid not to, they're selling the plushie replicas of Rise. So I got one. Amazing. I need it. I need it in my
plushie
life.
replicas of what?
Rise, the little plushie mascot that they took with them. It looks like a moon with a little Earth hat and cosmos on the bill of the cap. It's extremely cute, and it just kind of floats in the shots a lot of the time, along with Nutella.
Okay.
But when they got out of the lander, what was it, a month ago? Almost, not quite a month ago. It's like a couple weeks anyway. When they got out of the lander, one of the astronauts broke protocol and brought the plushie with him and clipped it to his belt and carried it around with him. So yeah, it's very cute. It was designed by a little kid. He's 9 or 10 or something. So it's very cute.
Oh, sorry. My daughter's staying with my parents this weekend, and I just got some photos. Yay. She wanted to make a snack for the neighbor's dog, and so yeah, so she made a snack and then went over and pet the dog. Oh, I love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right, back to the
okay.
You get to look at Wes Huff instead.
Punt complex conversations of evolutionary biology to individuals who are far.
Okay, are y'all? Sorry, people may.
Go on. Look, listen. We'll just continue to be racist and stuff for a while.
Okay.
Are more studied than me, like Stephen Meyer and Jonathan McClatchy and John.
Do you know these people, Maddie? Do you know Stephen Meyer and Jonathan?
These are all ID folks.
And
these are all ID folks. They're real condescending. My impression of all of them reading anything they've written is just condescending assholes.
I want to see who all he puts in this lineup of shit heels.
To individuals who are far more studied than me, like Stephen Meyer and Jonathan McClatchy and John Torres and Douglas Axe and those individuals who have studied it.
Yeah. If you want to see really good debunks, petty debunks on at least two of these guys, go check out Professor Dave Explains. He's got a whole thing on these ID hacks. Jonathan McClatchy, I don't know if he's gotten him yet, but he has done Stephen Meyer.
He does. So. He has. So the really interesting thing about, I believe, all four of these gentlemen is that the work that they are doing within Christian apologetics has nothing to do with their own scientific disciplines that they've been trained in. Or, I mean, in Stephen Meyer's case, he's a philosopher. Jonathan McClatchy has an actual degree in evolutionary biology, but like just doesn't do anything with it.
Which
he
makes
spends most of his time just
specific
doing
communication.
work in anyways. So
because McClatchy is educated in that specific field whenever he talks about, his ID stuff, then he's just lying because he knows better. He's been trained in it.
Yeah. Well, intelligent design folks are often engineers, right? Right. And so like engineers see engineering in places where maybe it's not. Right. Like that's
right.
Yeah.
We all have
we all love our field and want it to, I have my pet theory and I want it to apply to everything in atmospheric science. And it probably doesn't.
But also the Intelligent Design and the Discovery Institute specifically, the reason that they're calling it that is because creationism has already been rightfully booted out of public schools. And they don't like that. They want to force their specific interpretation of Christianity onto kids in school. And well, at least right now, maybe not with this freaking SCOTUS, but we don't want that, and that's not legal. So they had to rebrand C Design Proponentsists.
Yeah, of course, Erica the Goat has covered all of these topics.
Yeah.
I would like Erica. Hi, I hope you're watching. I know you're not. You're busy. I would like a plushie of your Bonobo cartoon.
The Gibbon logo.
The Gibbon logo. Sorry, Gibbon, not Bonobo. What am I doing? I told you I don't remember specifics. They fall out of my brain. Riding a goat. I would like a Gibbon on a goat.
On a goat.
Okay.
Because she is the goat.
Because she is the goat.
She is the goat. She's both the Gibbon and the goat.
And the goat.
We're getting into some like guts at Gibbon theology here. She's the Gibbon and the goat.
She is the Gibbon,
but also like her human self.
Yes, and
the
all
guts at Gibbon Trinity explained. It's a mystery.
Oh, okay. Basically intelligent design boils down. All of their arguments boil down to this, right? And you'll see what I mean when I say it's very consider the trees. They will say, look at an eyeball, right? You've been writing two donkeys.
Good. Yes.
Okay. What if it was like each donkey was like a water ski?
Yeah, you write them like both like they're water skis.
Yeah.
Or you could just put one donkey on top of the other and then stand on the other. Like, there's a whole mechanism.
So intelligent design kind of goes like this. Consider the eyeball, right? The eyeball has some large number of components, right?
Yeah.
And if you take away any one of those components, then the eyeball ceases to function. So therefore, it can't have been produced over a long period of time by small changes that get us to an eyeball. Because if you take away one thing, right, that why would natural selection select for things that don't have a purpose until they're all together, right? That's an insert whatever system you're interested in.
Yeah.
That's the argument. That's the intelligent design argument. Other than, well, if you look at things, they just look designed. It's like, I don't know what that means.
They look like that.
But so
looks like is the hallmark of the pseudoscientist.
Yeah, looks like. Yeah.
Looks like.
So it's like
nice.
The
looks
problem
like ancient machines.
Yeah. The problem with that argument is that you are correct. If you took away whatever piece, you no longer have a functioning eyeball. Right? It doesn't do that. But that doesn't mean that you don't have an organ that does something that is functional, right? For example, we have observed in real time, right? We've observed in the wild, there's some species of lizard, a reptile of some variety, not in my field.
Dapper Dinosaur screaming wherever he is right now.
Yeah, Dapper screaming.
Listen, but he's not watching either, so that's fine.
They've developed on top of their head a cluster of photosensitive cells, right? So all those cells can do is tell if it's light or dark, right? And that has a benefit, a survival benefit, because it helps them see if a bird is swooping down to catch them.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost like having eyes in the back of your head, except it's on the top.
Right. Exactly. So would a fully functional third eye up here be more useful.
Open your
Sure.
third eye, man.
Man,
Decalcify your pineal gland.
Or if we're reading, I'm reading Dungeon Crawler Carl at the moment. I'm on Eye of the Bedlam Bride. She just opened her 5th eye for the first time. And he had a panic attack, and now we're gonna deal with that. Okay. So like the systems as they're evolving do not have an end state in mind, right? The lizard with the photosensitive cells is not trying to make an eye, right? It's trying to not trying, because that implies like some sort of conscious process, right? But it turns out having these photosensitive cells is helpful, right? Now
it confers a survival advantage.
It's survival advantage, and so the ones with the photosensitive cells are more likely to survive, right? But that's not the only thing that they could do. A great example, I learned this at watching Erica's shorts, right? So why do humans have April? Yeah, and one of her April shorts. Why do humans have long hair? Well, we sacrificed body hair for more sweat glands so we can regulate our temperature better. But as we stand upright, our head and shoulders and neck are more exposed to the sun, which is that causes skin cancer, right? That's a negative survival thing. And so we did not give up the hair on our heads because it was more advantageous to cover skin than it was to sweat from here.
That's cool.
Elephants solved this problem differently, right? Elephants don't have hair like we do. I know they have some hair, but elephants did it better than humans. Elephants have like 20 some copies of a cell regulation gene that has to break for you to get cancer.
Holy cow.
So elephants just don't get cancer because they have so many copies of this gene that when you break one, the other is right there. And if you have to break all of them to get cancer, and the probability of that happening means
wild,
it doesn't happen within an elephant's life. Right?
Cow.
So we solved the same problem in 2 wildly different ways. Anyhow,
damn.
That was
Evolution.
a cool thing I learned from
right.
Gibbon.
I learned from Guts
Also,
Gibbon.
Nice.
Tree clam tad for 2. Maddie,
Yes.
considered kinds though.
I sure have, because kind is another way of saying species.
Except even worse and crappier.
Except worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie Lewis is articulating the theology here. Here we go. Eric is both a human, a goat, and a gibbon.
Goat.
The human is not the gibbon, and the gibbon is not the goat, but all of them are Erica. This is the mystery of the gibbon community.
Exactly. This is the mystery of faith. I
love it. That's awesome.
Also, because I believe I skipped at Ergomeister for 10, grandmother hypothesis, redirecting their energy onto those of their offspring. Grandmothers better ensure the survival of the genes through the younger Wikipedia. Yeah, I was also going to say that a lot of social species do end up favoring, like, at least the mammals. They tend to like favor the accumulated, like, I guess, wisdom of the older females. So they tend to, pass that down to the kids and whatnot. And there's not a lot of species, much less mammals, that like live so long after their, I guess, reproductive capacities have stopped. So that's another thing that is really cool about biology and nature. And stuff. Science.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to Wes, unfortunately.
At the exact same time, though, it also depends on what you mean by evolution, right? So like adaptation
is evolution. Just add time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate this.
change in
Microevolution is
allele
different than macro.
time.
It's just the difference is time. That's it.
Yeah. Evolution is the change in allele frequency in a population over time. That's it. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. There's no functional difference between adaptation or microevolution or macroevolution. These are all the same thing. Now, if you want to use adaptation as a way, like adaptation versus speciation, right? Like that's maybe an appropriate thing, but these are both evolution. Okay. That's all it is.
Darn it. See, this is why Wes is the number one
Not the
Christianity
number one
expert.
biology.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes, I agree. Wes Huff is certainly not as cool as the anti-cancer elephant.
Yeah,
I know.
definitely.
What do you even mean by evolution? Open a biology book.
Yeah. Where did Wes go to high
school?
school?
Like a lot of walking. I don't believe in marathons.
Toronto. He went to
Toronto.
high school in, well, actually maybe not, because I know he grew up. He also spent a lot of time growing up overseas too.
Okay, because he gives big homeschooled energy.
Yeah, he does.
Probably that, right? You know, that
very
seems
big
very
homeschooled
possible.
energy.
So, but I think he's going to explain to us that there's different ways, I guess, that you can think of or define evolution, I guess.
Yeah, and then I have a follow-up question because I think I know where he's going with this too. But look at all this unearned confidence.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of unearned confidence when he said word for word.
Word for word.
Genetically is a thing.
I guess, so I'm saying, do you believe that we evolved from very simple organisms to become the human that you see today?
No.
And
no.
He's functionally different from a young Earth. He's functionally no different than a young Earth creationist.
He's functionally no different than a flat earther. Right.
Yeah. There is as much evidence for flat Earth as there is for whatever this bullshit is, and that is none.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, here's the thing.
His understanding of science is flat Earth level.
He's going to be like, yeah, no, I don't believe in descent by modification. He doesn't believe in like shared common ancestry. Okay, cool. So $99 DNA testing kits are just available widely. Some of them are on sale for $49, depending on what season you buy it in. When do those stop working?
Are real.
When does that stop working? Because if you can determine paternity, if you can determine like historic geographic distribution of populations, when does that stop working for like shared ancestry?
Yeah. I think what he'll probably say is that like, but God's hand had to have been in it, right? That's probably what he'll say. Yeah, which is magic, which has the benefit of being non-falsifiable.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can't prove that angels aren't pushing individual particles together in a way that's invisible to us and looks like gravity, but okay. Just goodness.
The argument for that would be, you know, I share 98% of the same DNA as like a chimpanzee, and we have these fossil records which seem to show a progression over time.
Yeah.
You don't believe that's true?
No, I don't. But at the exact same time, I think, you know, there are individuals within the Christian faith, intelligent people who do and have no problem with understanding of a theistic evolutionary model. However,
theistic evolution is the view that God acts and creates through the laws of nature. It accepts the scientific explanation of evolution while believing that the process unfolds under divine guidance. The perspective is held by those who see science and faith as compatible.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
So he's
I think in the effort of survival of the fittest, I still think that you're starting a few miles down the road in answering the question of the arrival of the fittest.
No, that is almost exactly a quote from Kent Hovind, by the way.
Wow.
Almost word for word.
Ooh, that's a bad look.
Kent Hovind used to be really big about saying, you've explained survival of the fittest, but you never explained arrival of the fittest.
Incredible. So I guess he had those Kent Hovind VHS videos as part of his homeschool curriculum then, eh? Probably. So,
and evolution does actually explain the arrival. It's called a mutation. When it gets passed on, that means it was fit to be.
And for example, the human population is large enough that every possible mutation to exist exists.
I'm sure we could come up with a few ones if we really tried.
So every possible mutation exists because the human but now, or is it just it's always been like that? Like, help me understand that a little bit better.
Okay, I might I'm getting out over my skis a little bit, so let me back up a bit. You could imagine if you had 100 animals.
Right.
Big words, I'm not sure. I probably shouldn't have said that because I was quoting something I half paid attention to in probably while I was drinking too much gin in a Dapper stream. But so
well, then, hey, you could just not just in case. I don't know. How risk averse are
could
you?
abandon.
Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is you could imagine if you had 100 animals in your whole species and that was it, right?
Yeah.
Then not many mutations could exist, right? There couldn't be much genetic difference between them, right? The thing that I was trying to say, and this is to the best of my understanding, is that humans are as genetically diverse as possible.
Well, not with that attitude.
Not with that attitude, you're right. Okay, yeah, actually, I'm gonna back up. I'm way out over my skis here.
Okay.
And so ignore
Kip,
everything I just said.
Kip, do you have the clip of Josh's rap? He has a Kent Hovind thing.
No, I don't.
Dang.
Maya's got that. So
Okay.
but I do have this.
In the interlude, I'm going to do a little beatboxing.
Sorry, did you finish?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I was just doing some interim beatboxing there. So
that's the best I've got. I'm sorry.
Nice.
That's so good.
So, do you guys want to go for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we should.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to wrap.
Kind of
soon.
reached my limit on
Yeah.
Wesker today, to be honest with you.
All right. Well,
I mean, after that, just naked racism.
Yeah, this
I know.
is. I've seen Wes say stupid things. I'm not sure I've ever seen Wes say such mask off racist things.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Right? Like, I don't even think he put the mask on to take it off, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at least when he jumped straight to eugenics, he was like, but eugenics is bad.
Not surprising that the racist jumps to eugenics. I mean, I'm just saying. Goodness gracious.
It's a feature, not a bug.
Eastern societies don't have altruism and morals.
Yeah.
The fuck.
All right. So, but yeah, okay. So let's. I mean, he's saying some stuff. No, let's just let him go.
Okay.
Minds come from mindless matter. How does everything come from nothing? How?
He's again
asked and answered, bro.
Yeah, ask and answer. Just pay attention. Learn something.
Okay. How do we answer those questions? And I think that's why you can use the evolutionary model as an explanation of how God has actually created, right?
It turns out in the evolutionary model, it doesn't require God. If you want to believe that it has one, okay, no one's stopping you.
Yeah.
But those aren't like, oh, well, this actually explains this thing. No, you don't have to have God to explain evolution. It's doing just fine without that. Like, that's not a part of
the biology of the situation. But I think the bigger question is the cosmological questions. How did this all get going? You know, the Big Bang, what was the Big Banger? How did that first ball?
Okay, that's getting into Egyptian mythology for the Big Banger. Okay. So with this, let me explain a couple things. I want to point to 2 very important pieces of evidence, which we have. Okay. 1, redshift. So when we look out with our telescopes up into the sky, almost, little asterisk there, almost all light coming towards us is redshifted. This is similar to a Doppler effect, right? Where you kind of, the way you hear like an ambulance as it's getting closer, it goes, wow, right? That, but for light. So if something is redshifted, it means it's moving away from you. Okay? And effectively everything is moving away from us, which means on a like universe scale, everything is moving away from everything else. Right? So it's all exactly. Second, very important piece of information. If you point like a radio telescope, so we're looking for much lower energy electromagnetic radiation, like radio waves, right? This is actually technically going to be in the microwave scale. There's white noise everywhere. No matter where you point, no matter where you listen, you find this is cosmic background radiation, so millimeter wave radiation. So it's kind of like the same energy level everywhere in similar densities. It's not completely homogeneous. There's differences. NASA in the link I sent you, Kip, NASA's got a cool map of the cosmic background radiation. I think people can peruse that at their own. But let's take those two pieces of information, right? And what do they tell us? They tell us that if everything in the universe is moving away from everything else in the universe, then it used to all be closer, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, everything used to be closer because now it's all moving apart. So yesterday it was closer than it is today. Extrapolate that backwards for a little while, right? And then two, there is this echo of a hugely energetic event, right? In this cosmic background radiation, right? Right? And this echo, right, is ubiquitous in the universe. It's everywhere, right? So this tells us, if we extrapolate these two pieces of information back in time, right, that there was when the universe was closer together, when everything in the universe was closer together, there was a hugely energetic event that occurred everywhere in the universe, right?
Wow. Yeah.
That's all the Big Bang Theory is, right? So it was together and then expanded.
Like a blown up a balloon.
Yep. And is continuing to expand. Now, that does
not... God's blowing up the balloon. Duh.
Yeah. So some people like to extrapolate in the earliest formations of the Big Bang Theory. This was extrapolated back to a singularity, right? That take all matter and energy in the universe and condense it to a single point. That is no longer believed, right? And to a large
plot twist.
What's up?
So, plot twist.
Yeah, plot twist.
See, some of us don't know these things because once we're out of school, we don't take an active role in like updating ourselves. So
yeah,
a lot of us are like, wait, they updated the singularity thing? What happened? What's going on?
So if you're interested in Kip, if you could drop it in the chat or in like a comment, I sent you a review paper of cosmology from 2011. And so by the way, if you want to get into like a scientific field, if you're interested in the current state, review papers are your way to go. And there are often journals that just publish review papers. So it tells you like, this is the current state of the field, and it references a million things to help you go back and learn more. And review papers tend to be more readable than other types of papers.
All right. I have the Kent Hovind rap.
Okay.
You do.
So while Kip is getting his links and things together, I will play it. Brace yourselves.
Well, my name's Kent Hovind. Call me Dr. T-Rex. I don't get evolution. It's too darn complex. As such, to take some time to read a book or two, but there ain't no making money learning something new. I was a high school teacher. Science is my game. If you step to me, I'll put you all to shame. Not a doggone thing my PowerPoint can't solve. I got a million slides that never have evolved. Those atheists are living in a hazy fog. They know a dog never could produce a non-dog. Water, potter, Satan of my rhymes. Creationist would be the first of my kind.
It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Good. It's so good.
So basically think of it like this. So there's something that went on. So the universe was in a hot, dense state, right? And then expanded, right? And we know that. So what got us to the hot, dense state, or what came before that, is sort of what is the open fields of research, right? In cosmology. And so it's kind of, think of Big Bang as, and Big Bang Theory in the way that I just explained it, right, is kind of like Newtonian gravity, as that is to Einsteinian gravity, right? Unless you deal with black holes, right? Newtonian gravity theory is going to do you just fine. I've never needed Einstein gravity.
That's the funny thing to me, is that Newton works fine as long as it's not super huge scales or tiny scales, which is where the quantum
exactly.
It's funny, but otherwise, Newton's great.
Yeah. So Big Bang Theory is kind of like that. It's kind of like the like, this works to explain like 99% of the universe. We're working on that last 1%.
Wow.
And so then who was the Big Banger, right? What a silly question, right? Because
was it the Egyptian god Mot?
Yeah,
the guy that always has the
first off, Wes, you got to run those. You got to run everything you want to say by a 12-year-old boy.
Min. Sorry. It's just the Egyptian god Min.
Yeah, you just try that.
That's
first.
who the Big Banger is.
Yeah. And so, like I said earlier, right, the way Wes is framing that shows that he's assuming there was a start to the universe in linear time, right? When we're talking about like
the singularity or whatever it was began to expand. So.
Yeah. That's to a large degree right now, that's as far back as we can look, right? And so past that point, it's really hard because we can't observe that, right?
Light hasn't gotten here yet, literally.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten here yet. We haven't figured out how to. There's also a problem of the atoms being so dense that light can't get through. Right?
Oh, wow.
Cool. And so basically the photons having a mean free path of a basically zero.
Okay.
And so you need a certain size before light is able to escape and get to us to look at it. And so what's going on like before that expansion, really interesting, right? A whole field of physics on that. But it's not asking the question of, but what deity caused it, right? And that's not entering into the question.
Even if you decide a deity or perhaps a deities was responsible, then you have to decide which one. There's a lot.
And so Wes is asserting a philosophical framework of things need a creator, right?
Please don't do the kalam, please.
Yeah. And so that's not a scientific hypothesis, right? And so that's a very specific philosophical framework that he needs to justify, right? It's not on the scientists to like discover that, right? But no, like he needs to justify that that's an appropriate philosophical framework.
Yeah. I kind of feel like what he's doing and what a lot of apologists who want to engage the sciences, what a lot of them do is they're using it towards a specific explanation. It's not the element. Wes has no interest in the Big Bang or in the origins of the universe or in speciation or the process. No interest at all. It's just in service of God or the book, the Bible. It's all being marshaled to provide explanation. I hesitate to say explanation, but you get what I mean. It's being used to this other end, and that's really.
It's I think it comes back to that deep disdain for faith, right?
Yes,
because it's trying to say that, look, you don't have to believe your religion on faith. Science can prove it to you. So you actually don't need faith. Faith is silly and dumb, actually. Because they want to leverage that like certainty of we have science on our side, right?
Yeah.
Which is strange to me, but so like they want certainty, right? Which is antithetical to faith, right? And so that is what again, me as a person of faith, that is what fundamentally confuses me about apologists, right?
Yeah, that's another thing I will say, because you asked earlier that one of the most stark differences between Judaism as a system and Christianity is this comfort around certainty. We're very not comfortable with certainty. As soon as someone makes a definite proclamation, we're like, hang on, can you define your terms? Can you talk about like your process? Like, show your work, you know. So
I feel like my autistic brain would like that a lot.
Listen, if you don't think the entire Talmud is composed by and for neurodivergence, if you've never read it, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like hyperfixating on arguments and going on and on and on word definitions and like specific use case. I'm just saying. Yeah. However, Christianity, like evangelical specifically, but to a degree, some of the other forms are like uncertainty is just not okay.
Right.
But I think a lot about the evangelicals because that's who I have the most experience with. They're like, you can be certain where your soul is going. You can be certain about your life. Uncertainty is just not okay. It terrifies them. So anything that they can't explain, it's God, it's the supernatural, it's angels, it's demons, it's blah, blah, blah. It's like sometimes saying I don't know is fine.
Yeah,
because and that's the correct answer. What happened before the beginning? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't have
not therefore God. It's
right.
Just,
well, and it's the so many evangelicals I know view faith. It's this thing that they have like a death grip on, right?
This is the triangle, by the way. The triangle beam.
Yes.
You can pick at most two.
Right. And so their faith like can't bend, right? It can't do it because if it changes at all, it's gonna snap off in their hand, right?
Yep.
And then they're gonna like lose their faith.
Exactly. It's so fragile.
Yeah.
That's why young earth creationists are like, everything starts in Genesis, everything goes back to Genesis. Your salvation, they'll say, oh, well, this isn't a salvation issue. But then they'll turn right around and go, but if you don't believe the Bible from the first word, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Fragile.
So like I'm going through the process of applying to faculty positions right now. And as I live in the buckle of the Bible Belt, I was making a list of all the and we'd like to stay, like my family's here in Oklahoma, so we'd like to stay in Oklahoma. Yeah. So I was making just a list of like all universities and colleges in the area, and turns out there's a lot of religious ones, which I'm not opposed to. I'm currently adjuncting at like a Methodist university, and I love it there. It's such a great little school. But there's a lot of evangelical schools, and something that would make me incredibly uncomfortable would be having to sign a statement of faith as like part of my employment, right? That feels icky.
Yeah.
But like, I was reflecting on it and I was like, well, if it's basically like affirm the Nicene Creed, then I mean, like, I guess I do that every Sunday anyway, you know, like that I might
all your conclusions must point to a young earth. Like, no.
But like their statements of faith are detailed.
Crazy.
And almost every single one of them wants you, even if you're like a math faculty, right? Like you have to do this. And like they also have a lot of them had rules about like, if you want your campus to be alcohol free, cool. But then they'd also say like, and also you can't drink alcohol in the like off campus.
Because your students might be peeking in your windows.
And alcohol bad?
And alcohol bad. Like, right? Yeah. And so like,
hey, Maddie, remind me really quickly, because I may have misremembered this. What was Jesus' first miracle?
Water to wine.
Wait, did people just not drink the wine? I don't understand.
Oh, I know you're being
the best.
I'm sorry, autistic brain. These are the Welch's grape juice for communion, people.
Okay. Oh, it was wine, aka grape juice, not fermented. That's why they called it the best.
Oh, no. Okay, this is their explanation. Because back in the day, water was often dirty and unsafe to drink, so you needed to drink alcohol. Because that was the distillation process killed the bacteria, and that's why it was safe then, but it's not now.
Yeah,
it's not allowed now.
Also, they say the alcohol content was much lower too. So you're
what's the name of the channel
I'd like to point out though that I mean Jesus,
the justification machine is intense.
He didn't just He didn't just turn water into wine. He turned water into like French wine. Like it was the best wine. It was the best wine there was. So yeah.
I got you.
So
yeah. So of
Got it.
all of the religious universities,
the list is small.
There's
Or
2
is it?
that I could.
Oh
I would
man,
be
that's rough.
Oh, that sucks.
I know. The one I
here's hoping that you get a really good tenure position with amazing benefits that doesn't make you have to sign a statement of faith. Or at least has one that's extremely minimal and you just forget about it because it's never going to come in handy.
Right. Yeah. Like again, I mean, I'm kind of opposed to the idea of signing a statement of faith like on principle. But again, if it was like a statement that I legitimately believe.
Yeah.
See,
where I taught last, and I had to sign a statement of faith. It was very much Nicene Creed-ish, right? Like it was pretty easy to align myself with everything in it. But the crazy thing about it though was that based on the recognition that your pool of academics as as a university, your workforce will take a lot of nuanced positions. You have to, right? As you go through your education, this is what happens. So in an effort to ensure that they're not scaring too many people away, the statement of faith that they had faculty sign was actually not the same one that the students signed.
Oh,
which
interesting.
I know. And I don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's good. But at the same time, that feels kind of dishonest.
Yeah, it's actually dishonest.
Well, and then also like, how do you have a university where someone is here to teach and you have a class on like comparative religions, how do you even do that? And like, I guess the point is to not. The point is to only introduce your students to specific points of view.
Do y'all want to ramp this? Because I really don't think I want to go back to Wes.
I can't go back to Wes.
No, we're done. We're done with Wes.
Okay,
we
good.
should probably shut it down.
Yeah.
So, Maddie, thank you so much for coming and hanging out.
Thanks for letting me kind of hijack your stream and make fun of Wes with you for an afternoon.
You taught us
great. I had a great time.
Yay!
And I've learned several things, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So
learning stuff.
Do you want to take a few minutes to plug yourself, your work, whatever you want, things that are coming up for you?
Guys, I really want Science Side Up to come back. That might have to wait until I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And until kindergarten.
Yeah, maybe until kindergarten for the tiny one. I'm just gonna say that it's a time in academia in these United States.
Yeah.
It's also
it certainly is
a time in atmospheric science.
God, yeah, right.
I really don't want my field to exist, except they don't want to die from tornadoes, and so they're trying to figure out how to have one without the other.
It's the guy with the buttons meme and he's sweating.
Yeah. It's really hard, actually. Yeah. And so it's a thing. Hey, so if you are at a university and you're hiring a physical applied mathematician, let me know.
She's right here, guys.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm great. I'm so great. I'll be on ready to go soon. I'm usually there every third Tuesday for Matt with Maddie, so that'll probably be my next thing. Except
you
Star
can
Trek
listen to
in a week. So
Maddie, Russian ordained Essene.
Yeah, I am ordained now in the Church of Nome.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a thing on the internet that you can pay $20 and become ordained, so you can do your sister's wedding.
Hey, all right.
Okay.
I have a hat.
So, yay!
Yeah, she didn't let me wear it when I was doing the ceremony, though.
Oh, that's unfortunate. But I think we are going to be back next week on Friday on Top Hats Off for episode 1 of season 3. I think Star Trek and Nerds. I think that's the plan.
Okay.
Assuming all the things get fixed.
So that's cool.
Yeah, assuming he definitely has a computer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. His computer's in the shop. So, but stay tuned, folks. We'll be back eventually. You can count on it. So, yeah, for us, Vish and I are going to be on Dapper's channel tomorrow with Chesh and Dapper, and I don't even know what we're doing because his computer is broken.
Neither do I.
So, but we're doing something.
We'll be surprised.
We'll just find out. It'll be fun. And then tomorrow night is Budget Scripture Saturday with Nitty and Dr. Tapioca Weasel, who is a trench coat astrophysicist. Weasels.
That's right.
So
That's
yes. Right. And that's a fun show. That's at 7:00 Pacific tomorrow. The usual stuff next week. Thursday is Kitty Anti-Breed, and I haven't lined anybody up for that yet. But I did want to say next week on Friday, because we screamed a little bit about it at the beginning of the stream. We're actually going to be doing a flat Earth thing.
Damn it!
I know.
Damn you!
And I'm trying to say the MC Tune might be able to join us, but he has gotten himself into this. Well, he did this. He went and talked to a native Israeli modern Hebrew speaker to
that's right, Round Thinker. Nuriel.
Yes, round thinker about how to properly understand the ancient text of the Bible that this poor Israeli guy clearly doesn't. So, but we need to talk about that.
Not mean a sphere.
We need to talk about that. So that's what we'll do next week on Friday. But that's everything. So yeah,
right.
Thanks. I think did we catch? Yeah, we got them all. Oh no, there's one more here from Triclam Test.
Yes.
Hatikva.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Next week.
Yeah.
More of this shit. You know it. So be good. Stay safe. And as always,
to each other.
Yeah.
I'm finding it. It's here somewhere. God,
He's
I lost
coded, y'all.
I am so much so. You know it. Okay, I got it. Hot take call, everyone.